morning and welcome to another day of the week. I am MFA Akosia Adeti and this is the AM show. Thank you always for making time to join us every morning, and today as well promises to be another one that is to be the best yet. Well, we'll bring you the AM news a little later. We shall as well review the news, but Haruna will bring us some sports update. And for news review today, we shall be joined by Dr. Frederick Kintiamwa. He's a lecturer at the University of Ghana and as well a member of the NDC communications team. And as well, we shall be joined by Akbar Ruhala Komeni as well, special aid to Dr. Baumia. And also big stories later on. We continue our conversation on the fight against illegal mining, and we shall host George Dazi Jr. He's Deputy National Coordinator in charge of Operations Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program. We shall get into how that new initiative is panning out with the new government. We'll also have an interaction with Isaac Boamanyako, who's a lawyer, and he's Member of Parliament for Ifya constituency. He's questioned the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayene's resolve to fight corruption, as no one has been prosecuted yet, according to him. We shall also engage the Peja Writers Confab as well. We'll get more on that for you. If you indeed join us and stay with us all through the show, I shall be doing this a little later with the Hunter Pele, and so you want to stay with us, and especially for the news coming up shortly. You're watching the AM news. First, the Chief Executive Officer of Georg Distilleries Company Limited, Jonas Bote Aple, has revealed that the company has been paying close to 90 workers at its Kumasi branch for the past 10 months, despite zero production activity. According to him, the Kumasi plant, which was established to produce water, has been out of operation for nearly a year, leaving workers idle, but still on the company's payroll. He therefore said steps are being considered to revamp the facility and restore production to help cut operational losses and sustain jobs. He also made these remarks when the members of the Parliament Select Committee on Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions visited the company as part of their oversight responsibilities. Fatah Bayaga has more in the following report.
The committee embarked on a monitoring tour of selected companies to strengthen collaboration and ensure compliance in their operations. At GIHOC, the Chief Executive Officer, Jones Bote Aple, disclosed that the company has been paying about 90 workers at its Kumasi branch for the past 10 months, despite halting production.
I have a whole unit in Kumasi that is supposed to be producing water. They are close to about 90 there. I've been paying them for the past 10 months. They are not producing. Because the machines there, when I went to the factory and saw the conditions, I felt they needed to be relooked at.
He also expressed concern about the growing influx of imported alcoholic beverages, describing it as a major challenge affecting the company's operations.
Over the years, because we have not been there, people have taken over our market share. And so when we run, people are not demanding our products the way. And for now, there are a lot of competition. Only beverages from India, from anywhere, after 8 or so. I don't drink 8 p.m. They call it 8 p.m. When I drink it, I get a headache. And so a lot of competition. Now it's not coming from the Europe, but everywhere.
Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions, Joseph Apia Borton, said the committee will engage the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry to address the issue of foreign alcoholic imports in order to safeguard the local industry.
I think what the committee, after this, we are going to sit down for progress reports and review where the companies that we visited and see how best we can also do. If we have to talk to trade minister or wherever that is necessary, then we liaise with them so that Google will bounce back and be on its feet.
He further noted that the Chief Executive Officer of the company assured the committee that measures are being implemented to resolve the company's operational challenges and restore production.
What he is trying to do is that he wants to keep his staff because he knows that very soon all those machines will be operationalized. So he doesn't have to sack anyone before he brings them back. So he doesn't want to render redundancy. So what he's trying to do is to hold them together. So when the machines, because some of the machines will be ready even today, so that they will start full production.
The committee's monitoring tour also took members to Promasidor and Casapreco Ghana Limited, where the chairman expressed satisfaction with their operations.
I think they are on track when it comes to how they deal with their workers or their employees. I think they are on track. Nothing is perfect, but I think they've done well.
What we have seen at Promasidor and Casapreco, it gives me hope that with the private sector will be able to employ a lot of the youth.
For Joy News, Flagbearer, Accra.
And at age 65, Agnes Nsa of Takwa still wakes up every morning haunted by one painful memory of losing her daughter to breast cancer. Now, she's determined not to let another woman in her community go through that same heartbreak. This week, the Rotary Club of Takwa and the Goldfields Ghana Foundation teamed up to offer hundreds of women free breast screening and medical checks, a chance to save lives through early detection. And our correspondent, Natalia Kwanza, was in Takwa and also met Agnes.
She's 65, but the pain in her voice makes her sound much older. Agnes Nsa has lived through the horror of watching breast cancer claim the life of her own daughter.
Oh, I won't hear about today. Thank you. Look, for baby, we come back. See, our day about more than that. What they are by we come have free there. Although be a didn't who shame no it. We found our boy and I'm a messy free young. Dana, oh, who you call hospital? Na wobetwa na enu kokor na yenim de na anyi video di no modem na nti apre na wa ye no we nti breast cancer the ministry pa.
Agnes is one of hundreds of women who turn up at the new Atuabo Community Park in Takwa for free breast cancer screening, a partnership between the Rotary Club of Takwa and Goldfields Ghana Foundation. Globally, more than 2.3 million women are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, leading to over 670,000 deaths.
So breast cancer currently is like the commonest cancer in our part of the world. And we are losing quite a number of our women to breast cancer. And we know that when we are able to pick it up in time, that we are able to treat and get the majority of them surviving this illness. So that is how come every October we set aside a month to create the awareness, educate our women about breast cancer and our gentlemen too as well, and then also undertake some screening for them. So at Goldfields Ghana, we have decided not to even just limit ourselves to the breast cancer, but we are doing the general health screening for our community, our valued members of the community in which we operate. So we are looking at the holistic health of our people to make sure that in whatever area we operate, that we are impacting positively on the lives of the people in the community. Takwa, yes, it's a municipality, and because of mining, we actually have quite a number of people, and the kind of cases we see, it's a whole range. And yes, we've picked out some breast cancer cases. In the facility in which I work, we've actually had to refer someone for a double mastectomy, that's the removal of the breast, and then she successfully underwent treatment, and she's still alive and doing very well.
For many of these women, today's exercise is the first time they have ever had their breast examined by a professional. District Governor of Rotary 9104, Nanaya Cerebral, believes awareness should go beyond the pink month of October.
Beyond October, a woman has a right to go to any health center and have a mammogram done. October has been the month that's selected to create the awareness, but throughout the year, every woman has a right to go to a health post and ask for mammogram to be done.
In Natalia Kwanza, Joy News, Takwa.
And still on breast cancer, a free breast cancer screening in Techiman has uncovered a silent health crisis, leading to a powerful and direct plea from doctors. Your first stop after diagnosis must be the hospital, not the prayer camp. This comes as the Holy Family Hospital reveals a worrying 70% of patients are arriving too late for treatment, with new cases soaring to 54 in just the first half of this year. Now, Sabit has more.
Right here at the Techiman RC Basic School, a collaborative effort between the Holy Family Hospital and the Cancer Support Network Foundation saw more than 120 people step up for a free health checkup. A powerful show of community engagement, but the initial results are a stark warning bell. Of those screened, abnormalities were found in some 44 individuals. That's more than 1 in 3. 2 cases were serious enough to require immediate biopsies. This number underscores a critical gap between community need and routine medical care. Board Secretary of the Cancer Support Network Foundation, Gabriel Asumin, underscores the need for the public to take breast cancer screenings seriously.
Through my personal involvement with Cancer Support Network, we find that there are some women who are walking through our markets with very bad cases of breast cancer, travel to the liver, to the bones, to the back, to the brain, and that makes the treatment much more difficult. So we are hoping that through various organizations doing consistent education, we can detect breast cancer early so that we can get people the treatment they need so that they can go about their lives.
He further shared a passionate plea. If a lump is found, your next step must be a hospital, not just a prayer camp. Faith, according to him, is vital, but it must be complemented by science.
As a pastor and as a doctor, I pray for my patients. So we won't discount the importance of your faith in your healing process, but the most interesting thing that every patient, every person in Ghana will have to ask themselves is, of all the thousands of doctors that are in Ghana, when any one of them gets sick, will they go to the hospital or will they go to a prayer camp? When the pastors, myself included, get sick, do we go to the hospital or do we stay at home and pray? And if we go to the hospital when we are sick, then the church members need to pay attention.
This urgent call for medical follow-up is echoed loudly by the doctors here who are on the front lines. They see the devastating consequences of late reporting every single day. Dr. Kingsley Bosompem is a general surgeon here at the Holy Family Hospital.
Especially in the resource-limited communities, we record about 70 to 80%. In other words, 7 to about 8 out of 10 patients will come with what we call locally advanced or metastatic. Now, early breast cancer is curable. Locally advanced is quite difficult to treat, and then when it's in metastatic, it's no longer treatable. So the main challenge here is that they come in very late, 7 out of 10, which is not a very good sign.
54 new cases in just 6 months, a stark number that highlights the critical need for prevention. This is why the message from experts is so consistent and clear.
We started our clinic, breast care clinic, not too long ago, and the cases are rising. For the first half of the year, 2025, we have been able to, we've diagnosed 54 cases of breast cancer. Compared with last year, we are recording high numbers of cases. So we need to put the data together and can make it.
So the message from Techiman is one of urgency wrapped in hope. While the numbers are rising, the power to change the outcome lies in early detection. The success of this screening proves that when services are brought to the community, people will participate. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
And Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has donated 20 computers to selected schools in the Futu municipalities to strengthen ICT education at the basic level. Representing her Central Regional Minister Ekopenyi Nidrauma Ochiri said the initiative aims to bridge the digital gap and equip students with the tools needed for technology-driven future, with supporting the development of community day schools nationwide.
Some selected schools in Winneba were beneficiaries of government's vision to build computer labs in basic schools, receiving 20 desktop computers donated by Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Making the presentation on behalf of the Vice President, the Central Regional Minister, Ekol-Payne Eduamu-Autry, explains that government's plans to pursue Community Day Schools initiative must be founded on strong grounds, beginning with equipping basic schools.
His Excellency President John Mahama embarked on the Community Day Secondary School, very necessary, and we have seen the need now that idea hasn't been abandoned. Because if you look at the way the placement activity went, it tells us as people of Ghana that we still have to think around to ensure that we do have community day schools that will be well equipped and to have the right teachers for teaching and learning activities. That has to be done and done well. It must start from the basic schools.
As part of his activities for the day, the Central Regional Minister also visited Ghana's biggest manufacturer of red bricks, Five Continents Bricks Company Limited, where he emphasized how Ghana can help the company's operations.
One of the concerns they've expressed, as I've said earlier, is to ensure that they have market for it, because no producer will give production without having the market for it. And the best way to sustain them, because if we do, then we are going to get employment, we're going to stabilize our economy, we're going to have cheaper buildings for our schools and for our communities. Then we should have market for them. So government will look at it. That's why I said that why not? We'll let Get Fund consider. They may have to, if they have to take it to the laboratory to see, compare it with the blocks that we use and see which one will be cheaper and also durable. Why not? We do have building structures in this country that have gone beyond 120 years, which were made out of bricks. So I mean, we cannot contest that they are not going to support our ideas. Certainly, there's something we can take from here, and that government will ensure that that happens.
The board chairman of the company, Alhaji Abbas Issa, highlighted the company's plans for its corporate social responsibility.
We are here to work. Our Chinese partners are here to stay for long. So what is it is, we have a promise that because we are located in the central region, we promise to build 10 computer laboratory
for basic schools.
10 for basic schools in the central region. And it's not going to end here. From here, we'll extend it to Western region, because we might extend the company to Western region, or maybe customers may come from Western region to buy from us. So we are prepared to do all this, and we're going to do this in a short time.
From Winneba, Abigail Lisol Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
And after the COVID-19 pandemic exposed Africa's over-reliance on imported medical supplies, the academic community is taking bold steps to make the country self-reliant. At the Medical Innovation Expo 2025, innovators and researchers unveiled devices designed and built in Ghana, proving that the continent can create solutions for its own healthcare needs. My colleague Rodelina Bensa has more in the following report.
Held under the theme New Paradigms in Healthcare Technology, a three-day event brought together scientists, innovators, policymakers, and across the medical
come for us to make medical equipment and devices locally. I'm sure you guys experienced the pandemic. During that time, nobody could import anything. So in times of national crisis, nations tend to be inward, and nothing gets sold to anybody else. And so what we are trying to do is to figure out how to develop devices that are relevant to our environment, that is low cost. So we think if we don't take our destiny into our own hands in times of crisis, it will be very difficult. And we may also be buying equipment that are not particularly suitable for our environment.
Students from across the country are also making their mark. Students from various universities showcase medical devices they designed to solve real-time challenges in Ghana's healthcare system.
So this is the dual-powered intra-operative autologous blood transfusion device, surgery. So during surgery, when we see that a patient is losing blood, we just collect the blood, we filter it, wait for some few minutes. Then after that, it is being retransfused into the patient.
It's a prototype of a syringe infusion pump. So a syringe infusion pump is used for when you have to administer small doses of medications over a long period of time or continuously.
In rural areas, we have that when they're performing surgeries, even if they have a surgical lump, the light goes off. So we want to build something low cost that can solve that problem. And the doctors don't have to suffer from the lights being off. All the materials and everything were acquired from Ghana. Nothing was imported.
Organizers say the expo is more than a showcase of innovation. As the country advances towards a self-reliant healthcare system, events like this could signal a new era, one where local ingenuity shapes.
Some selected schools in Winneba were beneficiaries of government.
Time now for business update, but first into the stories, we have update on currency news. Now, the World Bank has issued an alert indicating that Ghana and other sub-Saharan African countries might face significant refinancing pressures as previously issued Eurobonds near maturity. There's more in this report.
According to the World Bank, this poses significant challenges to debt sustainability. In its October 2025 Africa Pulse report, it said Ghana faces a bond redemption of $500 million in 2025, spiking to 1.2% of GDP in 2026. South Africa has the largest bond redemptions between 2025 and 2027, measuring 3% of GDP over the period. Senegal also faces bond redemption totaling $1.1 billion between 2025 and 2028, with approximately one-third maturing in 2026. The report also said funding costs remain elevated and policy uncertainty in the U.S. weighs heavily on the benchmark rates for many countries. Again, elevated global risks and tighter financial conditions have raised borrowing costs and reinforced market fragmentation.
2025 West African Oil and Gas Outlook by Deloitte has revealed that the sub-region's oil and gas market is demonstrating strong growth potential driven by global energy demand and rich reserves in the region. The report coming up has more.
According to the 2025 West Africa Oil and Gas Outlook report by Deloitte, the sub-region's oil and gas market recorded a compound annual growth rate of 6.5% from 2025 to 2033. This is worth approximately $80 million. Nigeria accounts for 60%, while Ghana accounts for approximately 20% of the value. The report explained that the oil and gas sector in the sub-region is facing a decisive inflection point. The report stated that from Nigeria's hydrocarbon-rich delta to Angola's offshore blocks to the enormous gas reserves in the East African Rift Valley, the continent is recalibrating its approach to energy equity, security, and sustainability. In terms of crude oil production in Africa, Nigeria remains the top producer, producing around 1.5 million barrels per day at the end of 2024, with Angola closely behind at 1.1 million barrels per day.
This is how we wrap up the news today, but first we have commodity markets for you, and right after that will be sports.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, Black Stars coach Otuado has sent a strong message to players who previously turned down national team invitations, warning that they should not expect future collapse. His comments come because of the discussions about diaspora players, including Eddie Nketiah and Callum Hudson-Odoi, who have recently expressed interest in representing Ghana. Otuado says he's open to bringing in quality players ahead of the World Cup, but insists that those who rejected earlier invitations during challenging times may not get another opportunity.
So, you know, I don't also like to talk about players who were not in, or who were not in the squad, especially. One thing is very, very clear: we will look at any option if it could be a good addition, but we look at every case singularly. So, if this player a committed player, if he's performing well, is he better than what we have at the moment? Yeah. So these are the questions we have to ask, and after that we decide. But I won't go particularly into this or that player.
Does it matter, without mentioning or considering the specific players, does it matter in this analysis or in these decisions that you will make that someone had the opportunity to play for us, maybe especially for players who the FA may have contacted in the past and they said no, but now for whatever reason they want to play? Will that factor play on your mind and the FA?
On my mind, 100%, and I will decide it. So it's very, very important that he's committed. If we have contacted the player before and was not willing to play for us at the AFCON qualifiers or at previous tournaments or whatsoever, and now saying he's committed, even though maybe we called him and texted him, and it's going to be difficult, to be honest, because I think we as Ghanaians also have a pride for our country, and the same as if a player doesn't reply for the call-ups, it's not about the player who decide whenever he wants to come. Yeah. It should be on the FA and on the national teams to decide when we need you, that you are there.
Now, one diaspora player who switched allegiance ahead of the 2022 World Cup is Inaki Williams. The star striker has struggled to find form in a Black Stars jersey, scoring only 2 goals in 25 appearances. Otuado is urging the 31-year-old to adapt better to the national team setup and rediscover his form. The coach also praised the impact of midfielder Kwesi Sibo, who quickly established himself in the lineup alongside Thomas Partey.
There are more issues, and sometimes it's not only about the guy who is making the run, it's also about those who can give the pass. Find them. Yeah. So we have to find better connection between him. He has to adapt better. I think also the players have to adapt more to him. And this is the key at the end. We have to see how we can integrate him best. And I as a coach have to find a position for him how to integrate as best. But him also, he has to stay easy, stay balanced. Yeah. Don't think about to make it too complicated. And if we all work to the same direction, I think he will benefit of it, because the quality, like you said, is too high.
One of the new players you introduced into the team was Kwesi Sibo, and he seemed to speak very highly of you. He shared with me the conversation you had with him before he got his debut call-up, and he mentioned, I see you smiling, he mentioned the things that you liked about him and the things that you said he needed to improve on. What impression has he made since he actually got into the team?
Yeah, I mean, like, very good impressions. So I think he just trained 2 times with us, or maybe 1 time before he played. But these 2 trainings were so impressive that I said, okay, this guy is going to play. And the moment he landed, and I asked him if he's ready, and he told me I was born ready, I knew, okay, this guy is going to get, and he showed it on the pitch also. Yeah. You know, he's very, very aggressive against the ball. He doesn't care who comes. And this is making it special. He has his heart at the right the right point, and he shows it out on the field. He gives everything, and we want to see.
Now, the full interview of Otoado airs tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Now, elsewhere, plans are underway to strengthen school football in Ghana. This follows a meeting between the GFA President, Ketu Kreku, and Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. It's obviously aimed at promoting football development through education and youth structures across the country.
We are elated at the Ministry of Education this morning to be welcoming and hosting the President of the GFA and his team. And at the time that they have kept the country elated in the sense that Ghana proudly will participate in the FIFA 2026 World Cup. And the Black Stars of Ghana made all of us proud. What we are looking forward to is a stronger collaborative relationship between the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the Ghana Football Association, supported by a corporate donor to revive schools, colleges, and universities football so that we can identify young talents early and groom them. So it's my opportunity to commend President of GFA for the leadership he's providing and urge him on that with discipline, the impossible can be possible, and Ghana would be there, and the US, Mexico, and Canada. We expect that they will come as gallant men when we participate in the FIFA World Cup. So be assured that he's a most celebrated person now with coach, our coach.
The Football Association intends to work very closely with the Ministry of Education and Sports in our attempt to offer opportunities to young boys and girls. And we're not here primarily to talk about boys football. Female football is very high on my agenda. Yes, since I took office in 2019, I made a big commitment to offer a lot more opportunities to women. I think that we'll work together and make sure that we all follow the agenda of the president of our country, who set out to reset all facets of the Ghanaian of our country, including football. And I think that the recent happenings, his personal commitment, his personal visitation to the team, is clearly having a manifestation on the football ecosystem. The GPL, I have said, is the best so far. The Black Stars are back in the Mundial where we belong to. And a lot more can be said. Coast football is being played. I remember when I took office in 2019, in the Volta region especially, coast football was being played in Oliho. Today we have 22 districts in that region playing coast football. That's a testament of the investment we are doing to the youth of our country. So we are very happy, and I'm glad to be meeting the beautiful and nice people here to share what we have together.
That's how we wrap up the sports segment on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
Let's bring you to the news review where we go through what the papers are reporting. We're joined today by Dr. Ntiamwa. He's a lecturer at the University of Ghana and member of the NDC's communication team, and also Akbal Ruhula Khomeini is a special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, the 2024 Flagbearer of the NPP. But let's just go through the headlines of what the papers are reporting. Let's start from the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Front page, established Rice Development Board for active intervention to transform the sector, according to the Institute for Fiscal Security, IFS here. Now, I love this because those of us in the rice space, we think that if government can put in a lot of money in helping us grow more rice, we can feed the country. All we need are the support and getting policies that will compel Ghanaians to eat what we grow. I mean, we can do a lot of things. Also, influenza outbreak, GHS calls for vigilance to curb spread. Minority leader advocate inclusion of legally binding CSR clauses in contracts. This will be interesting. So companies can do a lot of corporate social responsibilities there. Now, court discharges businessman accused in Ahmed Swale murder trial. That's the details are there in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. At the back page of the paper, ECOWAS trains 200 Ghanaian youth in ICT program. Details of the story are there. Enhance public awareness to combat climate change. NDPC urges stakeholders. Okay, let's do other papers here from the Ghanaian Times. Let's do more. Okay, so these are the stories on the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Let's move on and deal with other papers there. Okay, let's see. Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper now. Minority raises red flag over 80 telecell measure. Yesterday there was a news conference in Parliament. They get details of that story on page 3 of the paper. Also, that Lumba Kate not into quote-unquote widows fight. They brought a statement out yesterday. Also, front page of the Daily Guide, NPP Flagbearer race candidates in a fierce battle. Comes with a photograph of the five candidates vying for the flag bearership of the NPP. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, Kennedy Japan, Dr. Osei Chum, Dr. Brian Champon, Engineer Kwabna A. Japan there. Who will win? We will see. Now, Jirapa CEO's Meda, Elisha Mahama gets life in prison. Okay, so get details of that. Let's move on to the Insight newspaper. And Alan unveils new party today. Well, let's see. So, Movement of Change is now becoming a full-fledged political party. They will be launching it today. Get details of that on page 3 of the paper. Galamsey crisis. Brian Achampon calls for 90-day mining pause amid EPA warnings. Will government heed to this call? We'll see. Government says that we've not exhausted all the powers that we have for us to declare a state of emergency. But would they? Let's see how government will take this. Also, cooperative movement takes center stage as Africa converges in Ghana for 25th SACA Congress. Two other stories. Minority chases communications minister over alleged rejection of Rectron's $1 billion lifeline for AT. And English Alata, traditional ruler, questions police inertia on Aite Konko killing. Well, so that's it. These are the papers. But let's do the CIMG news portal of the year, myjoyonline.com. Now, if you go onto My Joy Online, it comes with a picture of the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, in a handshake with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. And it says China needs zero tariff deal more than Ghana. That's according to Professor Bokping there. Ghana's debt to GDP ratio to hit 59% by end of 2025, according to the International Monetary Fund. And also, Ghana's economic orientation is built to import, not to export. Professor Godfred Bokping there. That's on the zero tariff that Ghana and China have, are about to enter into. NSA extends registration deadline for 2025-2026 enrollment, and several other stories on the front page of the My Joy Online news portal. Go there for all the stories you can get. So let's do citynewsroom.com now. And on the front page, Ghana could face 180,000 unemployed health professionals by 2028. That's according to the health minister, Akando. They get details of that story. And the economy could outperform IMF World Bank forecast, according to Professor Corte. So a lot more, issues there on the citynewsroom.com. But let me now join my guest so we can begin the review. Dr. Frederick Ntiamwa is a lecturer at the University of Ghana. He's a member of the NDC's communication team. Akbal Ruhula Khomeini is a special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And thanks for coming on our show.
Thank you.
Okay. What we do on the show is that we usually give the first 1-2 minutes for you to then tell us what is your reflection before we even get into it. Let me start with you, Doc.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. And I have to also greet my boss, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for the good work he's doing for the people of Ghana. I will say that so far so good. We've seen a lot of economic improvements in the past 8 to 10 months since the assumption of NDC into office. And this morning I was happy when I was listening to the news that the CD is doing very well. Now we are ranging between 11.5 to 11.6, which is quite good. And also, in terms of our economy, I think that we are also on a good note. Per the fifth review from IMF, we are doing quite well. And so I would say that, yes, Ghanaians trust that President John Dramani Mahama can deliver. And that is why all the pressure is being put on him to deliver within just 8 months what people could not do in 8 years. And so that confidence alone gives me happiness on any day when I sit on any platform, because for you to come into power or into an office and everybody is demanding that you solve his or her problem within a short time, that in itself is deep. It speaks volumes, because it means that you have capabilities that they expect you to do more. And if they haven't seen you done better, they wouldn't ask for more. They've seen that he's doing something good, and that's why you see nurses are going on strike. I mean, in the past 8 years, how many of that did we see? It means that if
as for strikes, we saw a lot of it.
No, I mean, you see that, you see, you realize that you go, but is there any response? No. Even to campaign or to go on demonstration to face Ghana, I mean, you see what will happen to your brutalities and all that. We live in a dark age for 8 years, and Ghanaians are happy. The serenity, the environment, the peace, and the stability people are enjoying in itself is good. Okay. And we must commend the president and his administration for such a wonderful work.
Okay. But the pressure you say they've put on the government or the president,
yes.
What pressure? Is it not the Galamsey one especially?
Oh, no, because now, we know about employment issues. People are crying out loud. And it's not just because we came to office in 10 months, that's why people are not being employed. For the past 8 years, employment was also an issue. And so we saw about the nurses issue with the health
employment
minister.
Has always been an issue.
So. Yes, but there was a clearance that was given in July 2024, which was supposed to expire in 31st December. Even that after the expiration of the clearance, they didn't go on strike. So a new government comes and they've seen that he's doing wonders for people. We talk about the GET Fund being money released to support GET Fund. We've seen NHIS where he's releasing money. So they've seen that, yes, the economy is on its feet. From a state of moribund to now being able to breathe and all that. So everybody is coming on board and say that, hey, we know you are the man, you are the savior, you can do a good job. And so, remember us when you enter paradise, like the two people that were on the side of Jesus on the cross. And so that's what they've seen. They've seen the savior and everybody is crying for help.
But I'm sure when it comes to Galamsey, you agree that we need to even heighten the pressure.
Yes. So I don't fault anybody for putting a lot of pressure on the government to do more, because they've seen the president and his team, the capabilities that they have, and they know they can do and deliver. And so if they are asking for more, Oliver Twist, they've seen that there's been some significant improvements in the fight against Galamsey recently. If we all attest to that fact.
Which improvement?
Yes. So we are talking about the fact that, we are winning in some cases or in some places. If you look at, let me give you, I know people will say that, having a clear water or having a very clean water doesn't mean that it's safe. Yes, I understand that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you see a very muddy water and a very clean water on any normal day, as a conscious and reasonable human being, which one would you go for?
You celebrate that clean water.
Of course. So we've seen places where, when we came into office in February, the turbidity levels were very, very high. And now we've seen that there's some significant improvements compared to what we inherited. And these are some of the things that we are seeing. and also measures that have been put in place.
Which ones?
Okay, so let me give you some examples that we have here. Quickly, I'll just do that for you.
Okay, so Dr. Frederick Ntemwa is a lecturer at the University of Ghana and a member of the NDC's National Communications Team. He wants to give us details of some of the water bodies that he claims that there's been some improvement. But I'll bring him in when he's ready. Let me bring in.
Yeah, so Kojo, rather than do...
So you're ready now? Okay, don't worry. I'll bring you in. Yeah.
So if we're looking at in February 2025, the turbidity for River Bia, not the whole River Bia, but at places like Dadieso, the turbidity level in 2025, as at February, was 5,450 NTU. And as at July 2025, we saw a reduction up to 372 NTU. So you can check this. We have also River Ofe at the places like Adiemra. So in the town of Adiemra, that portion of River Ofe, we recorded turbidity level in February around 5,740 NTU. And currently in July, a few months ago, we saw about 2,205 NTU. We can also go on to River Pra at Daboase, where in February 2025, it was 4,800 NTU. And as at February 2025, we recorded 2,820 NTU. We have River Brim, portions at Akemoda. In February, we have 3,800.
What's the source of this information?
Okay, so this source is from the Water Resource Commission. So you can check from there.
Okay.
And these are significant improvements. Aside that, if you look at the kind of framework that are being put in place, especially with the issue of excavator, in the past 8 years, there was no licensing of excavator. And for the first time in our history, any excavator that has been brought in the year 2025 has to go through rigorous registration process. And in January 2025 alone, we had about 1,200 excavators coming into the country. That tells you that in the past, we can't even, number the number of excavators that came through our port without registration. Any excavator you saw in the past 8 years with any registration number was a fake. Maybe some old van, they removed the number plate and put it on it. Most of them didn't go through due process.
Okay.
And for the first time, we put trackers and all that. If you look at the fight that the NEMUS, which is the Anti-Galamsey Task Force, is doing, we've seen it in social media. Erastus has done a lot of publication in this respect. And you can see that, yes, there is some significant improvement in the fight. Okay. I will say that we haven't gotten anywhere. I will not sit on this platform and say that, we have won the fight. No, we haven't, because we've seen reports from EPA and a number of things that, yes, even though some portions of our water bodies are turning blue and becoming more clearer, but the particulate matter in the water body, it's something that we had to deal with. We've talked about lead, mercury, and so my problem is that after we've stopped the Galamsey, what next?
Okay, thank you. Dr. Frederick Ntemwa, let me bring in Akbar. Akbar.
So rather than do reflections, I'll do a quick refutation.
Okay.
You know, we can support our political parties and still be candid in the way we present issues in a discourse. You cannot claim economic progress while seeking to demonize the NPP. Because the current economic framework we have today, all right, which the IMF spoke about, which he referenced in the fifth review, is a program initiated by the New Patriotic Party in 2022. The IMF Extended Credit Facility Program was initiated in 2022. And as the name suggested, the fifth review. So what that means is that they had previously conducted reviews before the NDC came into power. And if you take each of the reviews, you would see a pattern of progress. And even the economic data suggests that, all right? Because in 2022, at the height of the economic crisis, inflation was over 50%. Okay, the cedi had depreciated close to 20 cedis, 15 cedis. A liter of fuel had gone all the way to 20 cedis. By the time the NPP exited office, we saw a strong rebound in the economy. You cannot say that an economy that was above 5% at the end of 2024 is a moribund economy. So we can support our political parties and still be candid with the facts, okay? Because at the time the NPP handed over, we saw a decline in inflation from a little above 54% to somewhere, I think, 21, 23%. As at 7th of January, we saw that the economy, which had declined as a result of COVID to less than 1%, had seen a significant growth to over 5%. Indeed, the IMF in 2024 had projected that the country would grow at 3%. They later revised it to 4%. But the NPP managed to outperform all these projections. So you inherited an economy that was stable. You inherited an economy that had rebounded from the crisis that we witnessed in 2020 and 2021. So it is okay to support your party whilst admitting to these facts. What we are witnessing today in terms of economic development has absolutely nothing to do with the... I'm challenging him to mention a single economic policy that has been rolled out that can be responsible for the growth that we're witnessing, that can be responsible for the downward trend in inflation, that can be responsible for the increased reserves that we have had, you know, that they inherited, some of whom they are using to support the cedi. In fact, just last week, the Bank of Ghana announced a sale of 1.15 billion pounds, $1 billion. The decision to sell this amount of money is to provide stability and support to the cedi. And so if last week the BOG took that decision to sell this amount of dollars and has seen an increase in the performance of the cedi, it is not as a result of some economic ingenuity.
But you also credit them for the reduction in expenditure from their side. Because one of the things that people were citing was the, you know, increased expenditure government was engaging in the past.
No, so if you take the 2025 budget, for instance, this government has budgeted to spend more money than the NPP government did in 2024. So the argument of, you know, expenditure, in any case, expenditure itself is not bad.
Yeah.
But if you are engaged in productive spending, it will reflect in the economic indicators. And so for you to say that the NPP should be charged of engaging in reckless spending, you must support it on the basis of economic growth. But if you look at the data, it showed that the NPP invested in productive sectors of the economy, and that's what led to the growth that we saw. So what I'm saying is that, yes, it is okay to support your government, but we must admit to the fact that the current economic framework in place is a framework that they inherited from the NPP, is a framework that has been working since 2022, and from that until now. In fact, they talk about single-digit inflation, for instance. In their last review before the NPP left office in December 2024, the IMF had projected that by the end of 2025, Ghana would see a single-digit inflation. And so if you have seen a single-digit inflation, how on earth can you attribute it to economic performance by the NDC? Nothing. You can't attribute, because there's been no, you know, major economic policy shift in the last 10 months that you can say that as a result of this major economic shift, we are witnessing, you know, positive economic environment. There's none. And if there's one, he should point to it.
But at least they are managing, even if we should hold on to your argument, they are managing, say, what the system you say you left. And therefore, if a manager has been able to manage a system a previous manager left to him, and is attaining some result, at least you have to applaud.
So you don't seek to demonize those who set up the system for you by saying that they left a moribund economy. In fact, between 2017 and 2020, before the onset of COVID-19, Ghana was the poster boy of economic growth in the whole of Africa. When they were living in office, you know the growth rate they left? 3.7%. You inherited 5.7% and you say it was a moribund economy. So we can, as I said, it's okay to do discourse for our parties, but we must be fair to the facts. You know, then the issue of, people are demonstrating because clearance expired. That's not true. This has been refuted many, many times. Indeed, we have exhibited official documents to establish convincingly that all those who were put on public sector payroll before the NPP left office had clearance. So all what you needed to do was to make provision for them in your 2025 budget and pay them. It's as simple as that, because the New Patriotic Party government had cleared all these people before they were recruited. Because you see, wages and salaries are a very important component of our budget.
Did you make provision for them in your first quarter budget that you left them?
The first quarter? No, I mean, I'm saying that the clearance came in 2024. Yes. Indeed, and it was due for expiration in June 2025. And not in December 2024 as he alluded to.
You could
all right?
The fact.
But what I'm saying is that wages and salaries are a critical component of our budget. And that's why we have transition. All of these things were provided to the new administration. So all what they needed to do was to factor in these people in their budget statement for 2025. So if you fail to do that and the people are agitating, you do not seek to blame it on the previous administration. In any case, in 2017, we inherited workers left behind by the National Democratic Congress. We did not go to town lamenting. We made provisions and we paid them. And if you remember, there were teachers who taught for 2-3 years and were denied their salaries under Minister Sef Tekpe. The Akufo-Addo government did not lament about that. We took measures to pay them those entitlements. That's the essence of government. You inherit assets and liabilities.
Okay.
And you make provisions for those liabilities in your budget statement. You do not make excuses.
Okay. Doc, let me come back to you again, because yesterday there was a story we dealt with on Top Story, and your Deputy General Secretary was asking for the sack of politically exposed persons in the public space, people who are in the civil service and the public service who have been exposed to the NPP. His argument is that if you are a chief director, for example, and you aided your minister to indulge in corruption, which means that once you are an NPP person per se, into bracket, you don't align with the government's vision, and therefore they should be sacked to create room to employ your grassroots, because the grassroots of the NDC are putting a lot of pressure on the party for employment. Is that the best way to go?
Before I answer your question, I think I need to make something very clear.
Okay.
My brother was talking about the fact that the clearance was supposed to expire in June. That is not true. You can go and check the documents. If you go for the letter from the finance, the clearance letter, it was effect from September 2024 and was supposed to be expired 31st December 2024. So maybe he can make his checks, and I don't think that is June.
Okay.
On the other side, we were talking about, you should say we should mention one policy. We are not a party that praises slogans and policies. We came to work. At the end of the day, we are delivering. You've seen the dollar, to CD. You've seen the appreciation of the CD against dollar. So what policy do you want to know? Aside that, you have seen the fact that inflation has gone down. What policy? Yes, you can mention all your policies, but was any of these policies able to bring Ghana the state that we find ourselves in? You see, we have to be honest to people who are watching us. We can't just be going by policy. We know your tactics about framing every activity you do with a slogan just for the people to sing along. But at the end of the day, you were talking about IMF that you've done so well. Even the quarterly adjustments and all those things, you defaulted. We know it. And when we came, we have to put pragmatic measures, put a lot of, fiscal discipline, and that is what has brought us this far. We don't need to mention policies to you. We've seen the growth of the economy, how it's doing and all that. We don't need policies. We need people who are working on the ground to make sure that things are working.
But can those things happen in vacuum? There should be a guiding
yes,
policy.
we've talked about the fact that we are talking about fiscal, consolidation, prudent, financial management. We are not. When they came, they were accusing us that we are not spending. And we came to tell them that that is why the economy is doing well. Now he's here telling us that we don't have policy, we don't have anything. You were saying we're not spending. And the finance minister came out to tell you what we have been using the money for, not the money to, brand slogans and for people to spend. We spend.
I'm not sure he's asking for slogans. He's asking for policies.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because all the policies that they had to, brand it with a slogan so that people will see that they are doing something magic. But in its sense, we didn't feel it in our pocket. That is why we voted you out, so badly that for the first time in your history, you have recorded, the worst defeat as a party. And so if you sit here and say that it was a good economy and that is why you handed over that economy, you didn't hand over the economy. Ghanaians saw that you were not managing the economy well, and so they had to kick you out for somebody who they seem to be the savior to come and save them. About the issue about our Deputy General Secretary, I have not read that side of the article. But I think that in the light of reasoning, if you are in charge of an organization, whether a chief director, whether the CEO, whoever. And in the public service, I know chief directors are the people that they have to rise through the ranks.
And they are not supposed to be politically active.
Yes.
So those people will be difficult for you to tell whether they've been involved in politics or not. Yeah.
So these people are people that, they've worked all the years to serve Mother Ghana. And as a result of their contributions and their hard work, they have to go through series of ranks to be promoted. What he's saying, because I did not listen to the actual thing, and you are telling
me. So it is all about, his comment comes on the back of the fact that your grassroots are asking for employment. And he says, those NPP people in the public space must be kicked out for their people to come and replace them. And yesterday he explained that he will be happy that one director who is NPP will go off for the government to employ 15 NDC people and 5 NPP people. He would prefer it that way. But I'm only asking, is that the best way to manage the country? This is coming from a top member of your party.
Yes, he's a top member, and I respect his opinion. He's entitled to personal opinion, even as member of the party. If he does anything that is contrary to the rules and regulations of our party, we'll have to call him to order. But at this point, he's entitled to things that, his personal opinion, things that he has seen in the past 8 years, whereby at a particular place, instead of having 100, about 300, 400 people were employed. And he's just speaking out of, so he's not speaking for government per se, that, this is the stand of government. This is his personal opinion. At least he's a Ghanaian, and he feels the heat and the kind of outcries from people, especially people who feel that, they also have to be given opportunity. But, I do not agree in that manner, that if you pinpoint that somebody is an NPP, you have to kick the person out. This is Ghana. Everybody is a Ghanaian. A Ghanaian first before you become a political party opponent. So, yes, he has his views, and I will not fault his views, but I will say that I have a different stand. I feel that people who are competent, because we've seen this in a lot of places. I remember when we had issues at Ayawaso, West Wagon, and we commissioned Justice Emil Short to come out with a committee report. In that white paper report, even in our security service, whereby now people are complaining that, yes, we are not seeing much from them. And one of the report, General Regulation 5.3, stated clearly that we have to give merit to people who qualify, but not people who are, party allies. So I still believe in these kind of things that we need to look at competence outside the fact that, yes, this is a party member, this is this. But we've seen this in the past 8 years, whereby a lot of people, you'll be there and you get a call and says that, do you want employment? They were selling it. I mean, money for this and that and that. I have personal experience, but these things, you can't put it out, I mean, like that. And so probably he is speaking out of these things that he saw in the past 8 years. And that is why he's making that. But that is his personal opinion. Okay. And that is not the stand of the government. Because in any case, the government is not doing that.
So how do you think government must address the concerns of the grassroots calling for jobs?
Yes. So if you qualify, now the Ghana Armed Force
enlistment.
Yes, enlistment is ongoing. If you qualify and you have the certificate, apply like any other Ghanaian. You see, we have certain things that we can do. At the constituency level, there are certain jobs that are ongoing, apprenticeship program, all these things are going that a number of them who qualify are being enrolled, irrespective of party colors and all that. So if you qualify, because you can't just say I'm a grassroots, and I have to choose my words carefully because this is, I mean, what we are used to in the past so many years, not only 8 years, that once you are allied to a particular political party, once the party comes to power, whether you have qualification or not, you should be given employment. On what basis do you want to be employed? Okay. I think that people who are crying for, they should come out with proper documents, because if you are a nurse and you are complaining that you've not been, I mean, employed, and because of A, B, or C, you have been in the house and you are going on demonstration, that way, I mean, we understand. We recently saw nurses going on demonstration, even to the point that the Ministry of Health had to, one lady that she's deemed to have made statement that was not right, I mean, was sanctioned. And the minister had to come and say that, yes, people are allowed to express their sentiments. And so he doesn't condone with the fact that the lady was disrespectful, but he also feels that they should temper justice with mercy. Okay. And these are things that we want to encourage, not sit somewhere and say that I'm the grassroots, I don't have any educational background, I don't have any apprenticeship. Yeah, if you don't have skill, that is why the government, in its ingenuity and seeing the fact that for 24-hour economy to flourish, we need people with skills. These days, because you move around and tell me whether you see carpenters, you see, if you want a mason in your house to come and do a small job, you know how you suffer? You see, we've left that side of the vocation, that side of manual handcraft and all those things. Now, people are not going into it. They want quick money. They want to be put in positions they don't qualify.
But look, when it comes to masons and artisans, there are a lot of...
No, I thought maybe you haven't started.
Oh, look.
Plumbers. My brother.
There are things I cannot say, but you see, as for masons, artisans,
plumbers, artisans,
they are in abundance. Look, where I live, every day there's something happening.
Then I'm telling you that for the past 2 weeks, I'm looking for a plumber and I'm not getting. So if a plumber,
give me that service.
No, it's just
I'll let someone come and do it for you.
Because yes, so once we leave here, I can tell you, if you have a way of letting people share their views, I can assure you the frustration people go through, because the youths have neglected that side of it. And that is why the government has brought the...
Wouldn't you then say maybe it's because of the free education, people are going to school?
Oh, that is part. Okay. But we also know that there are a lot of who are not going to school, that are indulging in galamsey, that are indulging in, drug, and all that, red and all these kind of things. So these guys, we feel that, well, they did not decide to go to school because, in any case, school is not forced. I mean, so you can decide that I won't go to school, but you need to have some skill so that you can be useful in the society and in the community. Okay. And that is what I will say, that on any day, we should not make statements like, oh, this one is an NDC, so I'll kick him. This one is an NPP. I'll kick him. Yeah, we've seen that in the past, but I don't think that two wrongs makes right. And so we should rather do the right things. And I will say that, well, that is personal opinion. All right, it's entitled to that.
Thank you.
Kojo, the glaring irony cannot escape observation. On one breath, they're telling us that they have built a sound economy and they're doing things so well and people are so happy. All right? On another breath, they're telling us that they are grassroots, people who are supposed to see all the beautiful things that they have done in the last 10 months, the robust economy that they have built. people who are supposed to be the direct beneficiaries, to be the defenders of this record, are exerting so much pressure on them because they are unemployed. And you know their solution? Not to expand the economy, not to drive growth in the private sector, all right? Not to train more people in vocational skills. Their solution is to target people they think are NPP members in the public sector and to get rid of them in order to create space to accommodate their grassroots. You cannot, but we're talking about what their Deputy General Secretary, he says, oh, that's his personal opinion. He's not just a Deputy General Secretary of a ruling party. He's also a member of the government sitting at the presidency. And for him, his solution to the concerns of their grassroots is not to expand the economy. It's not to create 24-hour economy markets across the country, all right? It's not to stimulate the eating of wache and ensure that production goes up so people are hired, but it is to target people in the public sector who they are perceived to be NPP. Get rid of them because in their opinion, they worked under NPP ministers and under NPP chief executives. And that for whatever reason, the NPP people engage in wrongdoings. And, you know, my friend Mustafa is always at loggerheads with logic because you see, in our criminal jurisprudence, every individual is singularly liable. Okay? So if a minister engages in corruption, how do you sanction a chief director? Because the minister, you have not charged the chief director of any corrupt act. The chief director is not under trial. You've not accused him of any wrongdoing. You are just saying that because you have charged his minister and because he was chief director, therefore, he assisted the minister in the commission of an alleged crime, and therefore he should be dismissed. What kind of argument is that? But you see, they have set themselves up for failure with the grand promises that they made in 2024, not just to the Ghanaian people, but even to their own base. Because when you say to the people that an NDC government would deliver one job for 3 people for 3 shifts, you have created an impression that under your watch, you are going to triple the public sector employment. Okay? So if somebody is an accountant at, say, Ministry of Energy, you are going to employ 2 more accountants for that same job so that they perform the role on 3-shift basis. You cannot heighten the expectations of your supporters with such a grand promise and say that they should not exert pressure on you. When you were saying that you would triple the jobs and allow the economy to run on 3 basis shifts, you didn't know that you were telling your supporters that under your government, all of them who are willing and ready to work would be given a job to do? That was the implication of those promises. And so the people are justified in demanding that you give them the jobs, that you ensure that the economy runs 24/7. Look, we cautioned them and we told them that, look, you cannot sloganize 24-hour economy. You cannot legislate it. You cannot issue an executive fiat which would immediately trigger the operationalization of a 24-hour economy. And we said to them that, look, economics is demand and supply. Just yesterday, I heard GIHOC, all right, saying that they have suspended the implementation of the 24-hour economy because of low demand for their products.
And they are calling for government to ban the importation of some alcoholic.
So you see, and they're just vindicating the arguments we made in opposition to this proposal, that you cannot legislate something like this. It must be driven by demand and supply. I remember very well, I said to, you know, a fellow debater in 2024, I said, Yendi, where I come from, tell me how 24-hour economy is going to work there. Tell me how you are going to stimulate economic activities to a point that Yendi would open up their economy for 24 hours. So you made these grand promises to the Ghanaian people, and your people are chasing you. The solution is not to target NPP people. In any case, they have spent the last 8 months systematically targeting people that they perceive to be NPP members. And they have literally, okay, as a result of a directive from the Chief of Staff, dismissed people. Yesterday I heard the Chief of Staff lamenting that the nature of board operations in our country is affecting quality governance. If you're a Chief of Staff and you issue directive to state agencies to dismiss people who were legitimately employed simply because they were employed under the previous regime, you are not addressing the fundamental issue of unemployment. You are only exacerbating it. Thousands and thousands of young men and women have been dismissed. So what Mustafa is saying today is just an open admission of a party policy that they have been pursuing since 7th January. But I said to him that that will not fundamentally address the concerns of the grassroots of their party. The only way that they can address that problem is to roll out the 24-hour economy nationally.
Okay.
Make sure that economic activities operate 24/7. Make sure that they support the private sector to expand in economic. Look, both political parties admit.
I will let you continue, but once you mentioned GEHOC, let me bring the deal. And this is from Adum FM, adumaonline.com. It says, the Ghana Industrial Holding Corporation, GEHOC, Distilleries Company Limited, has put its participation in the government's 24-hour economy initiative on hold, citing low market demand for its product. According to the Chief Executive Officer, Jones Botte Apple, the decision follows years of weak patronage and limited brand visibility among younger consumers. He was speaking during an engagement with members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions. Mr. Apple explained that although GEHOC has the capacity and workforce to operate around the clock, the company's products have not enjoyed the level of popularity needed to sustain continuous production. Quote, for years, GEHOC has not invested much in advertising, so our brands like Herb Afrique and Castlebridge are mainly familiar to people above 40, he said.
You know, I jokingly said yesterday that if you can stimulate the eating of wache, you should be able to stimulate drinking. Eating and drinking are bedfellows.
But that's drinking water.
No, I mean, you can drink water, you can drink alcohol, you can drink Fanta, but you've got to stimulate it. You can't stimulate the eating of wache and say that when it comes to stimulating drinking, you are incapable of doing that. But the point I'm making is that the problem that they're going through is self-inflicted.
Okay.
They heighten the expectations of not just their supporters, but the Ghanaian people, that they will operate the economy on a 24-hour basis, which would allow 3 people to perform one job.
And they've launched a policy explaining what they intend to do, right?
Well, let us be real. Let us be real. You cannot, and I said it in my earlier submission, that you cannot roll out 24-hour economy on the basis of an executive fiat. It is driven by demand and supply. Economics is human, all right? It relates to human behavior. There must be a market demand. Look, if there's demand for alcohol, for instance, you don't need a government announcement of a 24-hour economy policy for GEHOC to engage in 24-hour production. If there's no demand for it, it does not matter the number of times you would launch that policy. GEHOC would say to you that we cannot keep up.
Okay. All right.
It's as simple as that. It's simple economics. So fulfill the promises to your people. Let them have the jobs. You do not have to target NPP supporters in the public sector. In any case, the public sector cannot accommodate all of your supporters, even if you were to dismiss everybody in the public sector.
Thank you, Akbar. Let's move on to the Ghanaian Times newspaper, page 12. It says, establish Rice Development Board for active state intervention to transform sector. Now, the acting executive director of the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS, Dr. Said Boache, has called for the establishment of a Rice Development Board to ensure active state intervention to transform the sector. The call, he said, was against the backdrop of the poor performance of rice production in the country due to the lack of active government involvement in addressing critical constraints, unlike in Vietnam and Thailand, where government played a leading role. He said the government had relegated itself to creating an enabling environment while expecting the private sector to address production bottlenecks. Dr. Boachis had resulted, he said that had resulted in market failures with the private sector unable to adequately improve productivity. Well, let me start with you, Doc. I am involved in the rice production, so I know how the rice sector is like. And whenever producers meet, our challenge has to do with being able to compete with importation. As we speak, when you go into the market, people have 4.2, 4.5 rice. We do 5 kg, yet the Ghanaian will say, why is your price higher than the one imported? So it means that government policy would have to come in here to help. Where do we start from? IFS says there has to be, a rice development board. What's your thoughts?
Thank you on this one. I think that, you see, this should not be looked at as an isolated entity. We are looking at the whole country as one entity. So rice production is there. There are people who are also going into poultry production. Poultry farmers are also complaining. And I always use the example that it's because of the cost of production being high. That is why we cannot be competitive.
Yes.
So maybe what we need to look at as a nation is not just the board, because if the board is in place and still, whatever has to be done in terms of structural reforms and all that to make sure that, incentives are given to help rice farmers. If they need certain things, it comes to them at a certain cost that is very lower. Then, because my problem I've had over the years is the fact that how come something that we import and we pay duty, we pay all the levies on them, it's so much cheaper than what we produce here. So what makes the production here, expensive, or what makes the production here very high? These are some of the things that they should let us know. How come that their cost of production is high? Until they are able to tell us their problem, because they are the people who find themselves in the industry.
So can I tell you something?
Okay, sure.
So high cost of credit is there.
Yes.
We borrow to be able to produce. Taxes. We pay taxes. And therefore, the producer would have to definitely pass on the tax to the consumer for you to pay. Else we're not in business. Now, anytime we import machinery to help us, we set up a very huge processing facility. If we tell you how much you have to pay on importation alone, it's huge. So high cost of credit is there. I mentioned taxes is also there. High cost of taxes on materials, machinery we import, and labor is also there. So every aspect of our production is costly because of the environment itself. So if government can come in there, help farmers to get access to very cheap finance, taxes reduced for the producer. But we are producing to feed the economy. If those taxes can go down, when we import machinery, usually we hear government say agric machinery will not attract, but the process, sometimes you can write to the Ministry of Finance, and for months, no response. You can't keep your equipment waiting. You need it. So you have to go in there and bring it out. You pay. All of these issues would have to be tackled.
Okay, so thanks for the clarity on some of the challenges that you have mentioned. So one of the things that I will say is that in terms of the financial support, the government promised about Ejumera, whereby he's willing to support young people, those who are also in business already, to support them with some financial packages. So in every year, he's promised to give 10,000 individuals, those that are going to be a startup, some too that are in the middle of the businesses. So I think that it's a very good initiative, but it should be expanded to make sure that, because 10,000 a year is a very good step in the right direction. But looking at the problems that, because if you want to take even rice farmers, the whole of Ghana, I'm sure they will number, this 10,000. Because if you go to villages, there are people who are doing it on small scale, there are people who are doing it on large scale, medium scale, and all that. So I think that we should, pat the government at the shoulder that, yes, it's a good initiative, but we expect more, so government should do more to expand it. Because currently the Jumara project, it's ongoing. And I'm sure very soon, those who have applied, their monies will be disbursed to them.
But can that substantially deal with the issues we're talking about in the rice sector?
So,
because if I have to pay a certain amount of tax,
I'm coming, so I want to take one after the other.
Okay.
So that is one side of the government trying to deal with this issue of credit. And also, you remember that there was Kwewu Business Forum beginning of this year. And as part of the forum, there was one thing that the government, spoke to directors of banks, or CEOs of banks, or managers of banks, that at least they should support local industry. At least he gave them a task that in every year they should be able to bring about 5 companies, each bank, so able to take about 5 to 10 companies, bring them to a level that they can be competitive on the international market. And this is something that is ongoing. So sometimes what happens in Ghana is that, like you said, the bureaucratic procedure. But it's something that with a reset agenda, government is also looking at it to make sure that at least you'll be able to cut down, the long chain that you need to go through. But that has its own advantage. I remember when I was in Legon as a student, there was a scholarship scheme that the university gives to brilliant but needy. I can assure you, the number of people who apply for that scholarship, they are more than what the university can support. And so they make the criteria such that if you don't need the money, you will not come and just put in the application. It got to a point you need to go and bring school fees of your siblings to show that there's a burden on your parents. You need to swear an affidavit to show that, indeed, you need to bring pay slip. And so if your father is well-to-do, will your father give you his pay slip? No. So that intention of trying to go and, take advantage of the system, it will not work in your favor. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, some of the bureaucratic procedure is meant to eliminate, because we've seen that in the past, people are able to form companies and say that I'm a rice farm producer, I have a very solid proposal, and I need this kind of money. And they take it. We've seen this from allegations that have been leveled against Chamaun to me quite recently about taking loan from Exim Bank for maize farm. So with this this is an allegation yet to be, proven, and if, charges have to be pressed against it. But I'm just using that as an example that with this kind of things in mind, government becomes more vigilant to make sure that it will make procedures very strict for only those who really need it. Because if you need it at all costs, then you might have to follow the rigorous nature of the procedure. Sometimes it's so annoying, like you're saying.
All right.
It's so annoying and all that. But also talk about the tax incentives. I know that
the wrap up for me.
Yes, I know that. With the new administration, there are measures that are being put in place for farmers, because government is working so hard that we will not become import dependent in terms of most of our agricultural commodities. That is why he's initiated the Nkokon Kitenkete project, whereby Feed Ghana fits into that aspect. About 10,000 homes will be given day-old to rest so that they'll be able to produce. I'm sure these are all things that are in the pipeline. And with just a matter of time, it will be expanded to affect people. But the board they are talking about is necessary, because you also need an administrative framework to oversee to some of these things, because a number of these things have to go through processes. You need to know what is good at what time. And if you have a body that is leading to help speak to government, it makes it better than an individual going to government for this kind of help.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kojo, I think my friend misdirected the conversation. You said that the IFS is proposing
the establishment
of a rice development bank. Board. And in the misdirection,
not he bank, he said board.
Board. And in his misdirection, he says we should pat government in the back. This is a proposal. to government. Government has not done it. There's absolutely nothing to pat government in the back for. But I would comment on it briefly because I disagree with it. Okay. You know, because this country, we have the penchant of resolving every problem with more bureaucracy. Okay, so this is just an additional bureaucratic layer to resolve a problem that we have been talking about since 1957. That there's vast amount of literature on. I mean, you have enumerated some of the solutions. Access to credit, you know, tax incentives, okay, you know, reduction in the cost of labor. I'm not sure that you need a rice development board to be able to achieve this when you have the Ministry of Food and Agriculture with various departments and technical people. What we need is political will to confront this problem head on. Apart from the political will, we also need a deliberate shift in our consumption pattern as citizens of this country.
Very important.
You don't require a rice development board to say that it is important to patronize made in Ghana.
But they will lead
indeed,
the drafting of policies.
Let me tell you why a board will not work. We have had in this Fourth Republic, at least in this Fourth Republic that I have read, various presidential directives, okay? Because I remember the Rawlings government had that, the Kufuor government had that, the Mills government had that, the Mahama government had that, the Akufo-Addo government had that. That presidential directive that even government procurement of rice should be done locally to boost local production and competitiveness. But you see, it has always been the lack of a strong political will to ensure enforcement and to ensure sanctions for violators. And that explains why, in the 2024 presidential election, Dr. Bawumia proposed the legislation. Because what we've been doing, actually, is policy talk without legislation, as far as the consumption of made in Ghana is concerned. So Dr. Bawumia had proposed in 2024 to move this into legislation, to make it law. Okay, that require government and some state actors to commit to buying made in Ghana products, which includes our local rice production. I think that you do not need a rice development board to resolve this because you're just going to create an additional bureaucratic layer, as you said. So you have to write to this board, you know, they formulate policy, they ask people to write to them, you write to them, it takes months before they get, you know, you don't need that. What we need is the commitment and political will of government to say that, look, we have talked about this problem since 1957. It is time to confront the bull by taking on the horns and ensuring that we produce what we consume what we produce in this country. Okay? And the citizens also must be willing to partner government to achieve that. Because it does not matter how fine a government policy is or how, you know, efficient a government legislation is. If the citizens are unwilling to patronize what we produce, it is just going to be another beautiful piece of legislation which would have failed. So we also need to change our attitude, and I believe that we'll be able to solve this problem without necessarily introducing another bureaucracy.
Because when you go to Nigeria, for example, whatever the rice is, you eat it, right?
Absolutely, because there was a political will to ban the importation of foreign rice.
And when you do that, automatically, you generate a certain level of, in code, billionaires for your country.
Exactly.
Because those of us in the space, if you are going to buy our rice alone, and that's the rice you're eating, imagine the jobs we can create. But when we import rice from other countries, we are creating jobs for other people and neglecting our
and actually putting pressure on our currency.
Yes.
Because you would require forex to be able to do this.
So deliberate government policies to say, we're going to limit importation to this extent by this year. And after this year, it's zero importation. We're going to eat what we produce. And our rice is also nice.
Yeah, and people would definitely acquire the taste.
Well, to add to what you were saying, I think that, you see, since the NDC came to power this year, we decided that for free SHS, most of the produce or most of the food is going to be made in Ghana.
It has always been. Actually, for free SHS, Buffer Stock procures locally, so it's not a decision of the NDC government. It's been in place.
Please. Because if you are saying that has always been the case, then in the past 8 years, I did not know about it. This is the first time hearing.
Actually, that's what gave life to Buffer Stock.
This is what my government is doing, and I think that it's a very good thing. The board, he's saying that we don't need it because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia proposed something and we should go by that.
No, I didn't say that.
I do not.
I didn't say
it's
that.
Another layer of bureaucracy you're going to
I don't see it to be bureaucratic in that way because we've had Gold Board this year and we've seen how Gold Board is performing. If anybody has anything to go by, that is a standard. Will
this rice board be buying our rice?
Exactly.
No. But we bag it to sell for the public.
No, I'm coming. So if there's a board, like the way Gold Board is, because this is just a proposal, the details of what should go into it hasn't come out.
Yeah.
So I am telling you that for just on the mere fact that you've heard a proposal and you dismiss it, it means that we've not done due diligence because we need to know what goes into the proposal, what they seek to achieve. If it's something that is going to help the industry to grow, then we can't scrap it and say that, well, it's another level or layer of bureaucracy and all that, so we don't want it. I think that the way Gold Board is performing, if anybody suggests that there should be a board to see to development of a particular sector, I will go for it on any day. He is saying this in mind that in the past 8 years, a lot of boards did not work. Cocoa Board did not work. So because of that, if it sits here and tells me that boards are not going to work, they are going to be bureaucratic, I understand him from where he's coming from. But what we have seen this year, we are saying that Gold Board is performing massively. We've seen what Gold Board is doing. I don't need to sit here and
will
say
the
that.
board lead to maybe government bringing a policy that will say Ghanaians, we are going to eat what we produce?
Now, Gold Board has a law. It's a Gold Board law. And the Gold Board law says that you cannot sell your gold to any outsider unless you sell to Gold Board. This is helping, one, to cut down smuggling.
No, but our rice, we don't want you to say we can only sell to a board.
No. If you want a regulatory framework, because, fine, it helps, one, to be able to stabilize prices. I mean, let's go into books itself proper. If you are looking at a board overseeing the activity of a sector, one, the board will propose certain measures that are supposed to bring sanity across board. If you say that there should just be a board and the board...
The Ministry of Food and Agriculture cannot do that.
There should just be a board and the board's aim only is to provide credit facility, is to make sure that you cut down import, is to make sure that you do this. I can assure you, we live in a market whereby everybody decides what he wants to sell his product for. And so in that way, government will provide all the incentive. If the people who are receiving the incentives say, I'll sell it at 10 cedis, who are you to challenge the person? But if there's a board to see to price stabilization and a number of these things, it's going to help.
But you see, in the space, you want to sell your rice.
You know the rice prices are not stable in terms of the local rice.
Yes.
Each and every
But I'm
individual.
saying that when you have support from government to enable you to sell your rice at an affordable price, you do that. Because the more you sell, the more you make.
Absolutely.
So you cannot, I'm going to use an example for our rice price. Look, we gave one wholesaler, I think she took 200 bags in around November. By April, we were going around to see what the stocks were. She still had stock. You know why?
Price.
Because then another person took 1,000 bags from us around April. By May, that same store supermarket had come for 1,005. Then we checked. That supermarket was putting just 5 cedis
on
it. But this one had put them, was around 30 cedis.
You need a board.
No, it's not the board matter. So if, say, we producers get affordable credit, our taxes very, very low, so we can increase production, employ more people. The cost of your rice will come down because you want to make it affordable so that people will say, if I compare your rice to the foreign rice, the difference is say 2 cedis. So I'll buy yours because ours is fresh too.
I understand you.
So it would act really affect the prices.
From what you are saying, it is the perfect system. But look at the scenario you gave. 2 shops. One shop is selling at a very outrageous price.
But it will still come down. Because if you are taking my at a certain price, and because it has come down, you'd also bring that even though you've calculated your profit margin on it.
Let me give you.
So actually, it will come down.
Let me give you an example. See, I do 1 or 2 things. I'm also a business kind of. I do shampoo. I'm a vet by profession, so let me say that. And I do shampoo for dogs. I produce it locally here. I give the shampoo to people at a certain price. You go to a certain shop. Sometimes you supply them product, and 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, they haven't paid you. You go and the product are still sitting on the shelf. And I tell you, you go, somebody is selling it 3 times the price you give as a wholesale price. And so if there is no check and balance in respect to this, government can subsidize and make sure that your production is low. You as the producer, you can give it to the retailer or the wholesaler at any good price so that Ghanaians can benefit. But I can assure you, if I'm at Fanchiriko and the supplier or the seller there decides that instead of selling it at a margin of 5 cedis, he decides to put 50 cedis, and you know that, one, there is no foreign, competition, because maybe there's ban on importation of foreign, and that is the only product that I'll be forced to buy. And that is what we don't want it to happen. We want a system whereby there is fairness across board, so that Ghanaians will feel that indeed government is doing something, because the people in Fanchiriko will never know that government has done any subsidy. But those in Accra, because they are big media houses, you can go around.
Will have a local radio station to tell them that
that's what I'm saying.
There's subsidy.
No, but the truth is that if there is no regulation, I can always tell you on this, that the difference between us and, excuse me to say, animals is because we have laws. Without laws, we are all the same. So until we have proper regulation that is working to make sure there is check and balance, then I think that we are not going anywhere as a country. So the board, fine. It's something that is laudable and it has to be looked into, look at the activities, how they intend to operate. And if the people within the industry deem it that is necessary, I think I'll go, because with the issue of Gold Board doing wonders, I think that in our dispensation now, boards can do wonders, not in the past.
Okay, all right, I hear. Let's just wrap with what's happening, what's on the front page of the Daily Guide. NPP Flagbearer race candidates in fierce battle. It talks about what Dr. Brian Achampon is doing in Accra. It also talks about what Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is also doing. We are told that, according to the paper, he has intensified his grassroots mobilization drive, arguing that the NPP's 2024 electoral defeat stemmed from voter apathy rather than opposition strength. It also talks about Kennedy Japan and what he's doing. He says he has vowed never to concede defeat in any election until the Electoral Commission officially declares the results. Addressing delegates in the Savannah region, Mr. Japan urged party members to select, quote, bold men, unquote, who can unify the NPP and focus on job creation. Dr. Soyadichum is also doing something around the Ahafo, Bono East and Western North region. So that's it. Let me start from you, Agba. This is your turf.
Yeah.
You're facing a fierce competition.
and it is quite exciting, you know, and it's also in keeping with the democratic tenets of the New Patriotic Party. That's how we choose our leaders. We do so through very competitive, democratic process. We're not a party that impose leaders. We're not a party that believe that leaders should be, ordained. You go to the people, you make a case, you explain to them why you believe you're the best to lead the New Patriotic Party. And we've done that, since 1947. As you know, we're the most enduring political tradition in our nation's history. So this certainly is not going to be the first time that we're doing that. It certainly will not be the last time. And at the end of the day, after fierce competition within the NPP comes cooperation. We're going to be united to prosecute 2028. But I believe that for the NPP to quickly return to power in 2028, we have to elect Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. That's my firm belief. I say so because I believe that he's the most qualified among those seeking to lead the NPP. Second,
most qualified in terms of?
Well, in terms of public sector experience, okay, because he's the only candidate who has been vice president, okay?
But some are also members of parliament.
Yes, but I'm saying that at the highest level of our politics, he has the experience required to be president than any of the aspirants. That's number one. Number two, I believe he's the most qualified because his ideas are forward-looking. Okay, his ideas are capable of transforming our country. Thirdly, I believe he's the most qualified because he's the most marketed among all the five seeking to be president. That the NPP would not have to expend so much resources in 2028 to market him to the Ghanaian people. With the greatest of respect to all of the aspirants, there are some of them who, when you go to communities to mention their names, they've never heard the name. Okay, so we cannot afford to present such candidates in 2028 where you would have to use all the election period to be able to tell them who your candidate is. So I believe that with Dr. Bawumia as presidential candidate, you know, he would be able to lead the NPP campaign easily. Apart from everything, I say it repeatedly, that the NPP would have a flag bearer and would hope that that flag bearer would become president. So therefore, beyond being seeking to be NPP flag bearer, that person must have what I have often called the Ghana factor.
Okay.
Is that person capable of leading a government to deliver on the promises that the NPP would be making to the Ghanaian people? Is that person capable of generating new ideas that are capable of addressing the fundamental problems of our country? Problems that, well, I've said to you, okay, that at least in the last 8 years, you've seen Dr. Bawumia as vice president. And I'm sure if I were to challenge you to mention the number of ideas that he implemented, you will readily recall them at your fingertips. Ideas that never existed in our public policy. Okay, so it is that kind of a leader that you need. Because you see, I do not want to focus on discussing other aspirants. Because at the end of the day, we would be required to remain united as a political party. So in my commentary, I try as much as possible to focus on our candidate. But I'm saying to you that you can identify Dr. Bawumia with certain novel ideas that never existed in our public policy space. So it tells you that given the opportunity to be president, okay, he will be able to do well for our nation. And that is the overall objective of our politics. That at the end of the day, you're able to have a government that will focus on solving some of the problems associated with our public service since 1957. Dr. Bawumia is that kind of a visionary. And I believe that the NPP would be proud to have him as president, knowing that he will leave a legacy that would make the NPP even much more attractive. Apart from these qualities that I have outlined, I believe that he has the right temperament, character, integrity, and, discipline needed to be president. Because at the end of the day, you are going to be a president for a country that is diverse in nature, a multi-religious country, a multi-ethnic country, a multi-party democratic republic. Therefore, you require a president who has the right temperament to be able to navigate these complexities of our society without offending any particular group or without seeking to alienate a section of our country. And, since the entrance of Dr. Bawumia into our politics in 2008, you can tell that his conduct has always been one that unites, not one that divides. You can tell clearly that his utterances are those that are peaceful, that he is generally open, okay, to a very civil and decent conversation. And I believe that that is the kind of leader the NPP needs, especially coming from a very rich political heritage. All the giants in our politics have walked through this tradition. Okay, so we cannot afford to go back on this rich heritage when we have somebody like Dr. Bawumia seeking to be president. Okay. And I believe that he would lead the NPP to quickly return to power in 2028, especially considering the fact that this government is failing on major promises that it made to the Ghanaian people.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Doc, would you want to have a bite on this?
Yes.
Of course.
I said in a story, that's where your interest should be.
We are not campaigning.
It's actively mobilized.
It's going for a thank you tour for Ghana voting for us. That's all. So please, if you look at what you have put up, for the 5 candidates, I mean, this is the first time I've seen that the NPP has become very unattractive, and only 5 people are just going to. I mean, the last primaries that they had, aside Dr. Baumia and Ken, the last one, Nanado and Co., 2014, we had about 7 people. We've had 16 before. Now you could see that from the records, it's coming down. And people are saying that, yes, we are not a party that enforce candidates on people, but we saw Akwetia when they enforced, a candidate on their party and we voted them out. We've seen that in 2024 election, they enforced Dr. Baumia on the NPP, and that is why they lost.
But they went to vote
massively.
How is that first? They went to vote.
No, they didn't want. You see,
9
now
people contested him.
What I want to say, fine, that is their internal battle, and they have to find a way to resolve it. But they have not been credible as an MPP, as a party. They've not been very credible. They've not shown anything that Ghanaians should take them serious, that they are an opposition party that want power. All the 5 candidates, if I run them through a litmus test, none of them qualifies to be a president in Ghana here.
Hey.
Yes, I can say this on authority because if you look at all the 5, they are all, complicit. If you look at the dark age that we had 8 years ago, this political persecution that we went through for 8 years, they're all part of it. If you sit down and allow the system to deteriorate to that bad state, and you still want to come and do what? I think that none of them qualify. They have to give room for young people to come and take over and revive the party. For old folks to still be battling and fighting, now you hear they are throwing stones and things against each other, which is very bad. As a party, I think that they should be more, formidable, uniform, to be able to fight and win power. But where they are, that they have been butchered into parts as if they are on...
Butchered into parts as if...
Yes, because you see the internal squabbles and, fight that is ongoing.
Any internal part, any
No, this time round, Kojo, you can tell that this time round, the elephant is already dead, because you see, it is only when the animal is at the point of giving up, that's when they struggle most, because you need to give up your last. Yeah. And that's what they are doing.
Quick one. My brother makes bizarre arguments.
I don't make bizarre
arguments. The fact that the number of people competing for flag bearership is not evidence of whether or not a party is attractive. You know why I said so? The last presidential primary that elected John Dramani Mahama as flag bearer of the NDC, how many were they?
I think
they were 3.
3 people,
and 2 pulled out. Dufour and Dufour pulled out. I think Kojo Bonsu ran.
Kojo Bonsu pulled out. Dufour ran.
No, Dufour pulled out the day before the election.
Okay.
But yet, John Dramani Mahama was elected. The NDC went on to win the 2024 presidential election. So I struggle to see the logic in attractiveness of a party vis-a-vis the number of people competing. That aside, he said that the NPP should give way. In order to be attractive, the NPP should give way to young people. But here's a 70-year-old that said Nketia lacing his boot. Julius Debra jogging everywhere. All right? And Haruna Idrisu keeping his eyes on the ball. I'm not sure these are young people in the NDC. If the logic is that, for the NPP to be attractive, they must give way to young people. Those who are advising the NPP must be seen to be leading the way. Those who are jostling.
They haven't picked form. Have you seen any of them pick form?
I'm saying that those who are.
This is what you are seeing from outside.
So will you change your stance if those people pick reforms?
No, have you seen any of them pick form?
No, but Doc, will you change your stance?
So he's actually a director.
No, we are yet to see. I mean, a matter of time.
Will you change your stance if those people pick it? Anyway,
I'm not changing my stance.
Thank you very much.
But I think that it's too early to. I mean, put them in that.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to you, Akbar Khomeini. Is that Esquire, right?
Oh, yeah, I am. But I try not to advertise.
Advertise it. I want to have friends.
So that he is an aide to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and also Dr. Frederick Ntiamwa is a lecturer at University of Ghana, a member of the NDC's communications team. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Have a great day. Yeah. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay with us.
You're watching the AM show. Thank you for staying with us this morning. And if you are a writer, or maybe you appreciate writing very much, you love to read, you engage in some form of art, literature, this morning we're getting up close with the festival director and as well a volunteer from Peja Festival that's going to be happening shortly. And joining me in studio is Martin Egblawugbe, festival director for Peja, and as well Sarah Soa, festival volunteer. We get to understand what the Peja really means even before we get to know what it's been that it's been running for how many years? 7 years?
No, 8 years.
8 years. This is the 9th year. Yeah. I missed out a year. Well, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, MFI, and good morning to you and your listeners. Yeah.
Tell me about Peja.
Yeah, let me start by talking about the name.
Okay.
You know, we took it from the Edinkra symbol, Peja, which is a flint. So the idea is to ignite, to light a fire, you know, ignite passion in the literary arts.
Okay.
And that is where the name came from. So the idea was, let's try and figure out a way of increasing the passion that people have for reading and writing in Ghana.
So simply, if you wanted to say this in English, you'd say ignite.
Yes, ignite. Yes, but I think the Akan is more interesting.
In fact, it is. It is. I like that you actually stuck to the Akan. If you wanted to say it in Efe, because I like to think your surname is in right?
I was hoping you would go there. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about this year's festival. But Sarah, it's a pleasure to have you. First of all, before we even get into it, let me know why you decided to volunteer to be part of this year's festival.
Thank you very much for the question. So I've always been passionate about, literature. I enjoy novels, most especially. So when I got the opportunity to be a part of this festival, I volunteered to be a part and then to help with the
preparation and all of that. So far, so good. What have you been up to particularly?
Okay, so far, so good. It's been a lot of, shall I say, diplomatic run-ins, press meetings, and all of that, as well as coordinating with our guests who are coming in, and then, airports, pickups and all.
Okay. Well, it'll be a good time to get into it. Tell me about Peja. What is it about particularly?
Yes, so the thing is to run a 3-day literary festival. And what we've tried to do is to make it inclusive of all sorts of different types of art. So even though we are focused on books, we also include things like artistic exhibitions. And the interesting thing about Peja is that we also admit academic talks as well. So there are people who have done significant work on books, literature, and things that are associated. And they will also be able to give academic presentations on literature. So the festival runs for the 3 days. Mainly, we will be talking about books that have been published recently. But I do know that there's interest in workshops for people who want to begin the writing journey.
Okay.
So we have this year about 9 workshops, and they are open. Well, right now they are closed, but we had a lot of people sign up, and we are pairing them with very experienced writers and publishers so that they will be able to guide them in the beginning of their journey into writing. So that's also a key part of the festival. Workshops and master classes, as well as the readings. And we have theater performances. That's also become a very strong part of the festival. And then, of course, we do a final event, which we try to bring all the poets together for a final poetry event on Sunday evening. So it's really a feature-full festival. We are looking at about 85 separate events over the 3 days from the 17th to the 19th of October.
85?
Yes, so almost every hour we are having about 4 events running concurrently. So it's really very intense. And Sarah was mentioning coordinating the airport pickups. There are lots of people who are coming in. Last night, for example, I think we had about 6 writers coming in. And so today is really going to be a lot of people coming in for the festival.
Has it always been like this over the 8 years that it's been running?
No, it's been growing. It's been growing, and it's been growing also with the support of significant partners. For example, the European Union delegation, which has taken an interest in supporting the festival. And so that gives us a certain impetus, especially when it comes to being able to invite European writers to join the festival. And also the other support we get from different agencies, Creative Ireland, British Council, etc., allows us to bring in a very good range, of writers. And so it's growing bigger, actually. And I would say that if we make projections, we are on track to be one of the largest literary festivals on the west coast of Africa. Yeah.
I mean, you talked about some projects running concurrently. Would it mean that the audiences are very different? How can I be part of all these ones that will be happening concurrently?
So what we've tried to do is to cater for different tastes, So when we have a reading, for example, that is focusing on romance, then we will probably have a poetry performance for young people, And the idea then is that no matter your taste, you will find something to do.
Okay.
And I think we've been successful in that regard because people essentially come and spend the weekend at the venue, which is the Goethe Institute, because there's always something of interest.
Okay, that's nice to do. Sarah, I'll come to you, but let me stay with Martin a bit longer. Now, the vision behind this project, would you say that it's evolved over the years?
No, actually, I would say that our focus is still very clear, that we want to be able to increase the visibility of Ghanaian writers and also make it possible for an interaction in Ghana with foreign writers. And so that focus hasn't changed. It's just that it's being developed in different ways, should I say. For example, when we started, we didn't think that we would be able to include theater. But theater is becoming a bigger and bigger part. So we have short plays. And this year, I'm very happy to mention that there's a South African group in Kaba Theatre, which is going to be presenting a play called Misery Loves Company. And
it does?
But it's very important because it talks about mental health.
Right.
And so this is something which has now entered the festival, and we know that theatre is becoming strong. It will be stronger and stronger as we go on in further years.
Well, Sarah, so, I mean, for you, which one of the branches under this festival has your attention? Is it the writing? Is it the theatre? And if it's for the writing, is it the romance or the other sectors of the writing? Which one?
I would say my interest is steered or journeyed towards, should I say, the dramatized reading. You have dramatized.
Okay, that's dramatized reading, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Do you have a piece that you can demonstrate a dramatized reading for me? Maybe not now.
Well, what I can do is to tell you what we have there. There's a book called My Parents' Marriage, which was written by Nana Ekuya Hammond. It was published last year. It's a really significant addition to the Ghanaian literary, should I say, the books we have published in Ghana. And it's going to be dramatized. There'll be a dramatized reading on Friday. And there's a group called Found Space Productions that is going to actually put this book out in the form of a dramatized reading. It's really very interesting.
Okay.
And I think that the previous years have been so successful, and that must have caught serious attention.
So for a dramatized reading, is it that people are just reading, but they are dramatizing it, or they're putting some drama act to the reading?
Exactly.
Which one? They're reading it, but they're exaggerating it and adding some drama to it?
Yes, the latter.
Okay, you like that?
Yes.
But you look so innocent. You do look very innocent. Okay, so this year particularly, how did you invite the writers? How did you invite stakeholders? How did you get them to be part of this year's festival?
So one of the things that PEJA has always tried to do was to make sure that the Ghanaian literary community is invested in the festival. So we put out a call earlier and asked, what do you want to have at the festival? So almost 40% of the events actually were generated by writers and publishers in Ghana. So they brought up the ideas and they are going to be hosting these things at the festival. But beyond that, we, of course, being part of a large literary community, we've been working in this area for decades. We have people who have published new books, people who are very significant writers on the African scene. For example, Elohosa Osunde, who is going to be at the festival this year, and is a really very significant writer from Nigeria. So we actually then invite people who we think will make a good mix and then bring them to the festival. So we started work on this thing almost at the end of the last festival. So we started selecting the people to invite and put out the call for proposals. Yeah, so that's how we built up the more than 120 people who are going to be featuring at the festival.
120 people. Yeah. Sarah, what's this year's theme? Or maybe Martin?
Let me, because we don't theme the festival.
Okay, you don't theme it?
No. So, and I think that allows us to bring in as many different ideas as possible each year. But we find out that there's a sort of a natural theming that goes on. Last year, without us trying, we found out that most of the talks and things were going towards the Afro-Caribbean connection. Okay. This year, it does turn out that we are looking more like a fantasy fiction theme. And that also is because we have a big delegation coming in from the United Kingdom about a project we call the Wandering Imaginations Project, which has seen brand new writing from 4 writers on fantasy. So we had 2 Ghanaians and 2 English writers participate in this. And so the product is now going to be exhibited.
Okay, what did you call that product again?
Wandering Imaginations.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And there's an exhibition that is mounted. It's currently going on at the Foundation for Contemporary Art. Because when they wrote the stories, they got animators to animate it, and then there was an audio book. So if you go to the exhibition right now, you see fantastic animations, and you can get to sit down and listen to the narration of these stories, And I must commend the Ghanaian writers who were in the young, fresh Ghanaian writers, Peggy Cray Osman and Akofa Dawson, and they were the Ghanaian contingent who paired with 2 English writers, Christina Dipros and Claire Govender, and they've come out with this fantastic product.
I think I'll be looking forward to that one. Beyond Accra, beyond this festival in Accra, what are your plans? Is it already finding its way in other regions, or you've centralized it in Accra?
So this is such a great question, because literature doesn't only happen in Accra, But I think that we want to focus on building a really robust festival here that can last decades, like what they have in Europe. Festivals are around for centuries. Now, we want to do Accra, make sure it's working, but we have opened our doors for people from other regions to come. Yeah. So over the years, we've been having people coming in from other regions. And this year, for example, we have a poet who is coming all the way from Wa. He's going to be performing at the festival. In the past, we've had the contingents from Hove, Cape Coast. So it's actually something
quite represented.
Yes.
Okay.
But my personal feeling is that Ghana is a big country. We've got lots of people in it. This should be replicated across the country.
Given the chance and given the right finances, would you?
Yeah. What I'll do is to encourage other people to take it up, because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work to do, eh?
Absolutely.
I like the honesty. But Sarah, where is it happening this year?
Okay, so we have 3 venues for this year's festival. The first venue is the Goethe Institute, which is the main venue for the workshops and the other events as well. And then we have the other venue, the Foundation of Contemporary Arts, Ghana, at the Du Bois Center. And then the third venue being Dot, Ateles, and South La.
Okay, is this what you mean by it'll be running concurrently? So all these 3 places, or
yes,
all the concurrency will happen in one place at a time?
No. So it's spread out.
Okay.
So at the Goethe Institute, there will be events running, and there we are going to have about 4 events because it's a big place and there are different locations.
Okay.
And then in addition, we will have the Foundation for Contemporary Art, which also will be having events running. And then Dot Ateliers in La, which has come on board and contributed their space for us.
Okay.
And we thank them for that. It's really good. So there also we are going to have events.
Okay.
So there's a very comprehensive schedule that is online. And of course, because the events are so many, we can't go through them. But if you visit our website, writersprojectghana.com, and look
writersprojectghana.com.
Yes, and look for Pija Festival. You'll find all the events there with descriptions of the people coming in with a blurb about what event it is.
Okay, okay. Yeah. But for an attendee, do you have to pay?
No.
No, that's nice. If you want us to pay for us to come and listen and read, yeah.
No.
But thank you as well. Any other information you want?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you very much for to our sponsors, because you see it's free, but not free to produce. It has been a really expensive project, but our sponsors have stood behind us. And so for everyone who is coming, all we can ask is that buy a book when you come.
Buy a book. Buy a book for yourself and for your friend as well. But Martin and Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. Please stay this one on the show. You're watching the AM show. Thank you so much for staying with us. Time now to talk about the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. And of course, my friends have joined me in studio to tell you everything you'd be missing if you do not come to the Accra International Conference Center on 23rd to 26th. And I'm joined by Mavis Naki Asante, Marketing Manager, Interplus Company Limited. And also James Kwawu Sena, or Senu. Senu, perfect. Marketing Manager, DBS Industries Limited, and sales as well, and Kelvin Mosiah, General Manager, Sales and Marketing, DBS Industries Limited. Gentlemen and lady, thank you for joining us in studio.
Thank you for having us.
DBS, of course, you I've had a conversation with before, and it's good to have you back as well. Maybe have we? Not yet. No. Okay.
So we are coming to do it.
Yes, we are. Tell me about Interplus Company Limited.
So Interplus is the leading producer of PVC and HDP pipes. We have PPR pipes as well. Everything piping, Interplus serves that purpose. And we also have different brands under Interplus. That is the Everlast brand, which is the main focus for this fair. The Everlast brand is into the production of UPVC windows and doors, all forms of doors, heights, dimensions. We are proud to say that we are the only company with the different colors. So we give you white, beige, and green. And I'm proud that when I entered, I saw my door in your space. So it serves the purpose that is reducing noise as much as it is. So that is one of it. And also we have Ingreen, which is into irrigation support for farms.
I see.
So we have for farm and for lawn. So if you have a lawn in your house and you want to keep it green, we have sprinklers that can serve that. And it's automated, so that is it. So Interplus has been serving Ghana for 55 years. And still counting. So
wow, that's a lot of years. I'll come back to you and ask you why then do you have to be on the Joy News Habitat Fair? But Mr. Sanu, tell me about DBS.
So DBS is one of the leading manufacturers that produces quality roofing sheets. We have steel trusses, we have concrete products, and we have ready-mix concrete. So let me touch on the various products I've mentioned. So for the sheet, we have the self-lock, which have a self-interlock system. So it means the sheet locks itself. The screws or the nails are not seen. They are in between the locks. We have the IBL, which is the inverted box rip. We have the IDT. We have the shingles, which is made up of waste paper felt. We have Eurotiles, which has an alloysing base with a big stone coat finish. We have trusses. Trusses is a very light metal, which is can be used for the roof carcass, or it can be used for partition.
Used for what? Roof what?
The roof carcass, that's the wooden work, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can use that for the roof carcass, and you can also use that for a partition, like an office like this. You can use the metal for partition, then later clad it with a very nice plaster board or cement board. Then we have the concrete product as well, where we have the blocks, we have the solid blocks, we have the hollow blocks, we have the pavement blocks, we have the pavement caps, and finally we have the ready-mix concrete.
Okay, you have ready-mix concrete
as
well. Okay, okay. Kevin, is there anything he needed to add that he didn't add?
Oh, I think he touched on.
He touched on all of it, right? Well, so this year again, reiterate why you're part of the Joining Ecobank Habitat Fair.
I mean, it's been a journey. I think it started with a step, and then it became a stride, and I think we are all here now. But we all agree that there's a housing deficit that we should all come together and help tackle and reduce. So that's why we've been on board for quite some time.
This year, are you making it any affordable or say, like a wolf kakra for us? How much percentage will you be giving us?
We're giving up to 15%.
Up to 15%? Okay, I'll come back for details on that. But Mavis, tell me why you're part, after 55 years, have you not done enough? Why do you want to be part of the Ecobank Journeys Habitat Fair?
So Interplus, at the heart of it is innovation, so we don't stop. We keep innovating, and we've been doing a lot of firsts. So we keep searching for the things that are going to make the housing construction easier, to ease the pressure on everyone, to make it convenient to build, to make it convenient to have quality things in the house. So we're still innovating. So for that reason, we still have to be there.
I agree with you.
Each year, we keep bringing new things. The baby on the table is our rain hose, which is also an addition to the irrigation. So we keep innovating, and we don't stop. We have TNG also as well for partitioning and for sealing. So Interplus is a big family, and day in and day out, we need to remind people that we are there. 55 years, yes, we are 55, but we are still young.
I'm with you on everything that you've said, Kevin. So are you giving the up to 15% on all of the things that Mr. Senu has said, or you have selected things that you're...
Yes, it's on the roofing products.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's that as well, and we also feel like it's imperative that we educate people. So if you have any questions, if you have any inquiries, you can just walk to our stand and, get the necessary information or the necessary guidance.
I mean, how many years have you been in existence?
More than 25 years, almost.
Okay, at least I'm older than DBS. Yeah. At least. Okay, Mr. Sanu, I mean, before the fair from 23rd, what are some of the offerings that people can walk into your, maybe, do you call it showrooms or your shops or your stores that people can engage you on? And what are some of the quick things they can be asking questions on before the fair?
So I would like to engage us on their choice, because we will have issues with choice of material. For instance, someone would be around Jamestown, very close to the sea, and wanted to purchase an aloe material. In no time, it will rust. So probably they have to engage us so that we can take them through. It's a journey, you understand? It's a journey, so they have to come so that we can have ample time for them, explain the kind of product which they need to use per the various location.
I think that you have touched on a very important point, which means that people hear the thing, they see it, they like it, but where they live and where they're going to use is a very important.
Yes, it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Okay. Then I understand why you think they should come and at least ask questions. Okay.
And this cuts across, because when you are building a house and you are close to the sea, you should look out for PVC window. And the PVC window you are looking for, you should also look for what is inside the window. So what is inside the window is as good as what is outside. So we make sure that our seaside projects have specialized iron grease, that is the fittings, the reinforcements, all that there is. That does not, it serves the purpose. It means that when you are close to the sea, we are still guaranteeing you of that longevity that everlasting window comes.
Okay. Kevin, I'm certain that somebody is watching us and they don't have the patience to wait till 23rd. They probably want to walk in, start asking their questions, salivating over on this up to 15%. Where can they locate you?
So we are on the Spintex Road, right next to Papaya. We're also at Sapeman, close to the China Mall at Amasaman. We're also there. We also have branches in Takoradi. We have a branch in Kumasi. We have a branch in Tamale as well. So we're all over the country, and they can call us in Accra on 0240 84 44 44. 0240 84 44 44. We also have a toll-free number, which is 0800 6262 62. 0800 6262.
Kevin, say the 0240 number again. 0240.
0240 84 44 44.
Okay, okay.
Yes. And in Kumasi as well, 050 600 4141.
Okay. Maybe is that you? Oh, Takadi.
Yes, Takrady as well. 050 600 4242.
Okay.
So you can call any of these numbers and then.
Okay. Mavis, are you giving us some discounts as well?
So when it comes to us, it's a custom discount. It means that different products have different discounts.
Okay.
So when you come to the fair, you're going to get, we can assure you that you get a very good discount. That one we can assure.
You can assure us that
I can assure you.
Okay.
That you can get a very good discount, whether it is pipes, whether it is windows, whether it is irrigation, TNG, PPR, whatever you're looking for with Interplus product, come to us. We will give you the best discount.
Where are your locations?
On the Spinters Road, plot 109. That is where we are located on the Spinters Road. You want to call us, you can call us on phone 0302 819,000, or you can call us, send us a WhatsApp 055 140077. Also, if you're in Kumasi, we have a branch in Kumasi behind City Style Building in Amokom. That is where you can locate us. If you're looking for any Interplus product, you look out for Interplus authorized agents. We have more than 400 authorized agents across the country. Okay. So you can walk into any of them, plumbing shops. You see the Interplus authorized agent sign, walk up to them, and then they will give you the products from the factory. Make sure you're looking for Interplus on any product you buy from us. It is boldly lasered on it.
Okay.
So it's not printed. You cannot tamper with it. So it's boldly lasered on it. If you look for our PPR, our conduit pipe, we package it nicely so that it doesn't get damaged during transportation. So look out for all this, and you'll get the quality that Interplus.
You should look out for Mavis as well at the fair, and look out for Kevin and James as well at the fair, DBS and Interplus as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the fair. All right. Please stay. There's more on the show. Gentle reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tang. Please stay.
Welcome back to the AM show here on the Joy News channel. Time for us to keep interacting on our big stories. And today, we have lawyer Isaac Boama Nyako, Member of Parliament for Efia constituency in the Western region. Now, he's been questioning the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Akrotinga-Ayene's resolve to fight corruption, as no one has been prosecuted yet, citing the promises of oral and what we were, to derive from the prosecutions under oral. He joins us in the studio for us to really delve more into this. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my brother. Adumara. I can find what joy.
No. And how's the constituency?
Oh, by grace, constituency is good. I just returned early this week on Monday, having gone to undertake an important exercise for me in terms of improving the quality of education in my constituency. Remember, the JHS people are moving to SHS1. And as part of my effort to improve on their quality and also assist needy students and parents, I offered some assistance in the form of mattresses and trunks and exercise books and provisions to students who were brilliant and others who are needy, so they could be able to continue to the senior high school. And that was the first time such a major intervention had taken place in the constituency.
Okay, good work there. But did you see what happened at the Jubilee Park too?
Yes. Let me say a good morning first to your cherished viewers and also to the good people of Ifia and Western region. The Jubilee Park, of course, had been taken over by our traders during the COVID period as an attempt to improve on the distancing But 5 years down the line, they've still been in occupation of the place. And the assembly, in consultation with the market leadership, had tried to see if they could move them to a new location in Apremdo called Abembeboom.
Now the chief says we should call it the Apremdo Central Market.
Oh, so they don't want Abembeboom?
No, they want Apremdo Central Market. It's,
okay,
it's a good name.
Them. Yeah, Apremdo, but Abembeboom, Apremdo Market. So let's take it
Apremdo
Central Market. Yeah. So efforts have been made to move them for good reason, to the extent that, you know, where the Jubilee Park sits, it also has some connection with the flight that comes into Takoradi. And there's been concerns about the birds and the rest that try to frustrate the air traffic situation. But I believe the engagement should have been exhaustive. And also, normally the place we put them, we should normally make sure that it's well prepared. But whatever it is, they've been moved since the Monday, and efforts are being made to make where they are going more comfortable. I'll be going back to constituency tomorrow. And so by Saturday, I'll be visiting the place to see how well our mothers have settled within that particular.
Okay. You came back on Monday?
Yes.
You're going back on Friday?
On Friday, yes.
Wow.
I have some health screening exercise for breast cancer health screening in the constituency on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
I'm bringing professionals from Accra and Cape Coast to try and let us test the health position of our mothers. And so we'll be doing a very massive breast cancer screening exercise on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. All right. Kudos to you then.
Thank you.
But you are a practicing, you still practice law, right?
That is correct.
And you are challenging your colleague lawyer, probably your senior at the bar, right?
By far.
By far. And he's the leader of the bar now.
That's correct.
Dr. Dominic Akrutinga on his handling of oral and corruption-related matters. But as a lawyer, you also believe in due process.
That's correct.
So the man explains that due process is being followed, and that's why we haven't seen much. Why take an issue with it?
So the difficulty has to do with the fanfare, which came out as a result of the oral activities. You remember, post the elections, the president, right after NDC won in December, they constituted this oral, before even the swearing in of His Excellency the President, with an understanding and intention that there's been so much corruption over the past 4 years or 8 years under Nana Akufo-Addo, such that they needed that oral to collate all the reports of corruption, amongst others, and then prosecute people when they find guilty. And so a lot of fanfare was made out of it. Finally, that committee submitted its report to the president. The president again had a fanfare, giving the Attorney General over 2,000 supposedly alleged cases of corruption for the Attorney General to investigate and then prosecute offenders. So 12 months down the line, the understanding we had from oral was that it concerned matters of petty stealing and complaints, amongst others. But 10 months down the line, what has been the outcome of the oral? What has been the result, the report from oral that indicates, for example, that the AG had reviewed the 2,000 cases. He has belief that about 1,000 of them carry some merit. They are doing further investigation around it. As are now, maybe 20, 30 cases are ripe for prosecution. Then we know we are going somewhere. But when you go around and throw it in the public space for political expediency, that there's so much corruption, we create all this panic within the public space, only for you to come into power, and 10 months down the line, there's complete, absolute silence in the area of this oral work. And all the time that they sat with Domolovu and the rest, he's now at Ioku. What has become of the oral reports? And I believe the AG owes Ghanaians either to explain to us the extent of work and the updates of thereon, or they should apologize to the good people of Ghana for all the noise that they made with regards to this oral and corruption-related matters. Now, the few cases that he's even coming up with, it's out of pressure. If you listen to public discussion, people are concerned as to, you come and give us a media briefing as to investigations that are ongoing and so on and so forth, only for you to turn around and not see anything happening. And so I'm happy that at the end of the day, he's finding his feet to do 1 or 2 cases. But that doesn't support the noise and the fanfare that came as a result of the oral conversation.
But they have 4 years.
Yes.
why are you putting pressure on them in 10 months?
It's not about 4 years tenure. It's about consistency in the case and the allegations that you make. Okay? You owe it as a people to give us a briefing. You owe it to us to give us an update. You owe it to us that after 10 months of investigations into those alleged cases of corruption, there's been none grounded enough. And it is important that he even briefs us as to the ones that he has to ignore or take out. Because, see, a lot of people had gone there with a lot of allegations. You have thrown it within the public space that there's so much corruption over the last 8 years. So when you review, give us an update. Tell us that about 1,000 of them were unmeritorious, about 50 of them had some merit, and then let's have a, because at the stage as being the Attorney General, he's no more a political appointee.
But what if that is a style that he wants to use in running the Attorney General's office?
But his style has been to come into the public space and give us briefing even before he goes to court. That had never been the practice of the Attorney General. The Attorney General normally will stay back, review all his cases. At the end of the day, he meets you in court. But we've seen a different style of an Attorney General who is always in the public space trying to give us information as to investigation, the status of the investigation, and at the end of it, or which ones are prime for prosecution. And I'm saying that that same style should be applied to the oral report. That same style should tell us as a good people of Ghana that I had 2,000 reports, 1,500 are all meritorious. And then we know clearly that the AG has reviewed the report, and this is the state of it. But you can't keep silent after you have made so much noise and so much fanfare as to the level of corruption under the past 8 years. And we have all of these there, and he owes it as a citizen and as the chief legal advisor to the president to update us as a good people that this is the position of Ural, this is my reviewed position, these are ones that are considered viable enough for prosecution, and whether he will do the prosecution in a year, 2 years or 3 years, that is why he's the Attorney General.
What is the end game of this advocacy or campaign?
No, it is for us to be sincere to ourselves as a people, that it is not enough for people to, for political gain, make a lot of hue and cry about corruption when we have no basis. Because you see, people have been given a mandate to serve over a period of time, and they have to be held accountable for their stewardship. And so whether there's a change of government or government is running, it behoves on leadership to hold public officers accountable. And so when you make a lot of story or news about corruption, and the president himself, prior to, and by establishing Oral, he showed us his seriousness in combating corruption because he didn't wait to even be sworn in. So it was as if once I take office in 7th of January, I'm going to work on corruption. And you have this report handed over to Attorney General for over 7 months, and the Attorney General is not giving us a briefing. So that is curious. That is where I'm coming from. He has to tell us something about that document. He has to tell us the outcome of his investigations. If he has not completed investigation, he should tell us. But I know for sure that a good proportion of that work has been completed, and there is no legitimate way for him to go out there and prosecute. That is the information I have.
But the Signals Bureau is part of the oral work, not so?
The Signals Bureau. He has not told us that it was part of oral work. I doubt if that was part of oral work.
But you're the same group of people who, if they act, you say political persecution. Why don't you allow him to take his time to do his work?
You know, I've not spoken about political persecution to the extent that if you are bringing charges against people, you have to be seen to be acting in fairness. You have to be seen to be addressing the matter holistically. But when you pick and choose the cases for which you are going to prosecute, then it raises matters of concern. We have an Attorney General that took office, and in less than 2 weeks, he has entered into nolle prosequi. He had entered into withdrawal of cases in the public space against people perceived to be connected to the government. And so if you are seen in one breath withdrawing cases against people who are being prosecuted, if in one breath you are entering nolle prosequi against people who are being prosecuted, and then in another breath you are starting, those that are being prosecuted have gotten to stages where even some cases were being concluded for the court to make a determination. And the AG is telling us that he didn't think that the state will win. If the state will not win, allow the court to make a pronouncement. Why do you withdraw the matter? If the state, if the AG, the previous AG, had no basis to prosecute those people and has been able to go through due process to almost the end, why do you withdraw the cases? Allow courts to make that judgment.
Well, he gave reasons.
What was
unless
his reason?
Unless you say the reasons are not tenable.
They are not tenable because it doesn't behove on him to pass judgment on the matter.
But he has the discretionary right to
Please,
continue cases.
Not
you're a lawyer, so you know that.
You exercise that. You should exercise that power sparingly. You don't exercise it capriciously.
Okay.
You are saying that in Ghana today we had thousands of cases being prosecuted. Are they the only cases that the AG saw basis to withdraw and discontinue? Do you know the number of cases in court as we speak today? People who have been taken to custody for over 4 years and their matter is not being heard. Some cases where you can't even find dockets and the people are being put in cells because the cases are not being brought. And the AG never saw this as necessary for discontinuance. And only people that are being perceived to be connected, the now governor of the Bank of Ghana, the now deputy director at the NIB, and all of those people are the people he saw fit. Please, as a country, let's get serious. And the media and everybody has to be concerned that this was only politically motivated. And I'm saying, if you go after withdrawing cases against people perceived to be connected to you, and then in another breath, you are interested in fighting the previous administration, and that becomes political persecution. And that's why people are raising that concern. But for me, public officials should be held accountable for their stewardship, whether in the past, in the present, or in the future.
But when you took that decision, and you didn't disagree, you disagreed with him, what could have been the remedy available to you, for example, as a Ghanaian, as an MP, as a lawyer?
Because the law allows the AG to take that decision. So I can't question it.
Okay.
But I can only comment on it.
Okay.
I can only express my view on it. And that is why I'm saying that the AG did us a disservice by discontinuing those cases. He should have allowed the court of competent jurisdiction to pronounce their innocence. Remember, Chachu Chikata had one matter. He wanted to discontinue. He said, no, let the court establish my innocence so that I know for sure that the case that was brought against me was unmeritorious. So he should have allowed all those cases because it was never going to cost the new Attorney General much in completing the case that was before court. Because all of them had been they've gone through various stages, cross-examination, written statements have all been done. They were merely ending. And so why are you in a hurry to withdraw them? Because maybe he knew that those people would be jailed.
But some of the cases, he was initially party to, not so.
Yes. And
so if he was initially party to and said this man is innocent, and he comes into the Attorney General's office and has to prosecute someone he has said is innocent, I mean,
that is the conflict. You know, those areas were areas that we called the AG to be conflicted because you can't be a party to a matter in your previous administration or previous position as a legal practitioner, become an Attorney General and make a determination on the same matter. Because when he was the counsel for those people, he was supposed to go to court and defend them. But now he's in a different capacity, either to prosecute the people or allow others to complete the process and the court to make a determination. And so if he took a decision to withdraw the case from them, then it means he was conflicted. Then actually, it is a serious conflict of interest position that the Attorney General found himself.
What if tomorrow you wake up and the Attorney General says, I've conducted oral, I have this number of cases that we're going to go to court on. Will we not hear you again come up to talk about political persecution?
Why would that be? You know, nobody should be afraid of going to court. The court is a place for people to be heard. And people are not guilty unless they are pronounced so. So going to court doesn't mean the person is guilty. All right? It is the process, the transparency, and the way in which we conduct ourselves that makes it appear that people are being persecuted. We are talking about this galamsey, we'll get there, when people have been referred for further investigation. We know people who are doing this galamsey business across the country. And all we know is Akonta mining because it is known to me. Are we saying that the entire Ghana landscape where we are doing galamsey, it is only Akwanta mining that is mining across the country? It is good to start from somewhere, but show us leadership that in addition to Akwanta mining, everybody that has been responsible for degrading our environment will be brought in. Remember, the president issued a letter citing some 2 NDC personalities to be referred for further investigations. What has been the outcome of that investigation? How many months down the line? How can the president of a republic release an information to you for investigation and 3 months down the line we have no report on it? Isn't that curious? If really the president wanted an answer, don't you think 1 month later we should have gotten a feedback that they've done the investigation, this is the outcome, and the people are being prosecuted? Please, let's be serious as a country.
But can't you request for information on it?
These are some of the medium we use to make those points so that government will respond up. Parliament has been on recess for close to 2 months, and we are going back next week. And I believe once we go to Parliament next week, a lot of the questions we have raised whilst we were out of Parliament, we'll be able to ask them for the AG and any other body who has to brief us to tell us.
Once we go, you've delved into galamsey. But before I take you to galamsey, now, yesterday, I understand that you raised an issue with the DVLA making illegal charges. You made that?
Yes.
Now, so what exactly is your issue? Is it that DVLA did not come to Parliament for approval, or that DVLA could not have done those charges without putting the suspected offenders before a court so that the court will impose a charge?
No, fees and charges are imposed by Parliament, not by any government agency on its whims and caprice, by regulation. So you would normally have made your fees, taking it through government for approval, and then it will be laid before Parliament. Parliament will have to approve it before you go ahead and charge. But here's the case: DVLA had gone ahead to charge people for either sport fines, amongst others, without recourse to Parliament. And that is an affront to the law. And these are areas we are raising because it is becoming one too many. The government thinks that a lot of decisions that require parliamentary approval now never seeks to come to Parliament with it. Is it because they want to bring the image and reputation of Parliament into disrepute? Or is just a disregard because they have absolute majority, as in over 2/3 majority in Parliament? But Parliament is a sacred institution. It is completely separate from the executive. Parliament is made up of representation of the Ghanaian people. 276 members appointed or elected by the entire country. If you take the executive, it is only the president that is elected. And so when the law makes it such that something that you are going to charge us as a people should get the people's consent, and you don't bring it to Parliament and you begin to charge, and then when issues are brought, you say, I've suspended it, and now you are bringing it to Parliament. Are they saying that they never knew that they had to bring it to Parliament in the first place? And so I get worried again, the style of government, trying to disregard the authority of Parliament, trying to disregard the powers that Parliament has been vested in by the Constitution. We've been talking about this Gitbo 2 case where the Supreme Court has talked about bringing agreement under Article 75(2). And here we are. They have signed a memorandum of understanding with the United States. Clearly, that understanding has to be brought to Parliament for approval. And we are now talking and nobody is talking about it. Nobody is bringing it to Parliament. So it's becoming one too many.
But
issues that require parliamentary approval, that they are completely disregarded. And that is unhealthy for our governance structure.
The law that sets up DVLA, doesn't it allow them to undertake these sport fines?
No, we only need the approval of Parliament. You will initiate it. You get the concurrence of your ministry, and then you bring it to Parliament. So you are the implementing agency, but the final authorization should come from Parliament. You cannot say to your somewhere DVLA and be imposing fees and charges. You can't. The law doesn't empower them. They should show us the powers in DVLA Act. Why have they stopped? And what happens to those that they collected money from prior to they stopping this exercise and trying to bring it before Parliament? So clearly, President has come up with Code of Ethics and Conduct. Why are they not sanctioning the DVLA Chief Executive? Why are they not sanctioning him? Who took that decision for them to go ahead and do it without recourse to Parliament?
Is it in the code that if you take a decision without going to Parliament, you should be sanctioned?
No, the code is if you do any action that embarrasses government, if you take any decision that you know or ought to have known that it requires certain procedures and you don't, it is an affront to the code of conduct, and somebody should sanction somebody.
Okay, all right. So you wait for them in Parliament as they bring.
That's correct.
Those. And will you ask the question about what happens to the monies they've collected before?
Oh, of course. We've already signaled the Committee of Transport, and I know they are preparing themselves to meet them squarely.
Would they compel them to pay back those monies to the people?
Let's get there and then we'll cross it.
Okay. But on Galamsey, briefly, we don't have a lot of time. I'll just give you 2 minutes on this. What's your real issue with government? Because government has shown that it is dealing with this Galamsey. We've seen NIMOS going to this Galamsey side to do arrests, burn properties. Also, the government has reported about some turbidity levels of some river bodies also improving. So what are your real issues?
You know, government had failed us completely in the fight against illegal mining. Their actions today are just a representation of the pressure that Ghanaians have put on the government to act. Because see, you took office knowing clearly the state of the illegal mining business. People were not too happy with the way the NPP government had acted because some bold decisions were not taken. So by December before the elections, both President Mahama and then Flagbearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, had taken a firm commitment to combat the illegal mining business. So right, you take over power. There are certain priorities that you have to set. And illegal mining was one of the key concerns of Ghanaians. And so you don't leave it to deteriorate where our river bodies were being attacked with impunity, forest reserves were being attacked with impunity, even our railway lines were being attacked with impunity, our electricity lines were being attacked with impunity, and the entire country has to rise up. And then you call a coalition and team to Jubilee House to now come and discuss the way forward for Galamsey.
Okay.
10 months after coming into office.
Okay.
And so these minor steps, the Blue Water Guards, the NIMOS, and the rest, they're already there. They are task forces that previous administrations have established to fight it. But what is the government's blueprint? Okay. Today, if I ask you, what is the executive president's blueprint in combating Galamsey? Where is it?
Well, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Lawyer Isaac Boawanyako is a member of parliament, the member of parliament for Efia constituency in the Western region. He joined us for breakfast this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more on the AM show. Do stay.
Today we're joined by George Dazi Jr., Deputy National Coordinator in charge of operations, responsible cooperative mining and skill development program. Thank you, George, for joining us this morning. I hope you're well.
I'm doing fine, Akosia.
Okay.
You're also doing good.
Very well, thank you for asking. Where are we with this particular initiative?
Thank you. My greetings to your cherished viewers and greetings from His Excellency, the Development King, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of Ghana, to the people of this country, and from my ministry, the Minister of Land and Natural Resources, the MP for Elembele, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofi, boys greetings to Ghanaians. Where we are now is making sure we set up responsible cooperative mining scheme to take or absorb the young people who believed that their livelihood depends on mining. Taking them from the river bodies, we're taking them from the virgin forest, then the roadside unauthorized place of mining. What alternatively are we giving them? His Excellency, the President says he's giving sustainable jobs in the mining communities. So therefore, our mandate, one of our models is to set up cooperative mining scheme to help the communities that are mostly affected with these illegalities in the mining sector.
So you say a scheme, which is now another initiative under this development.
Sure, we have 5 models.
5 models.
Yeah, responsible cooperative mining is of skill development, mining support services, land reclamation, agriculture and agribusiness, then cooperative mining scheme. So we have 5 models. And my idea, after the launch in Obuasi, let's say, insist, unfortunately, a tragedy before this country. And the president came out with a national mourning week. So after 15th of August, so latter part of August, that we started full operation. So in full operation was September. We've done some community engagement. We've gone to the Elembele district, engaged the Alabokazo, Anya, Akropon communities. We've gone to Ahafo. We've met in Kashim and the Mem Goso community. We've gone to Savannah. We've gone to Upper East, and that is from BC, Bole. We've gone to Central Region, that is Ayamfre. We've been to Western North, that is Bebieni and Bekwai, just to engage the communities and to let them know what His Excellency through the Land Ministry is bringing on board.
And in the communities, what has the responses been so far? Particularly because it's been touted that this particular initiative is sort of sanitizing the existing initiative under the previous government, the community mining. And so how has the community actually accepted this new initiative and your engagement so far with them?
They're applauding the president. Looking at what transpired during the erstwhile government, a name community mine was given. It was a good intention. No one is saying it's bad. That is the reason why the president is continuing merging NALEP, that is National Alternative Employment Livelihood Program for illegal miners, then community mining, to give sustainable jobs to the young ones in the mining communities. This is a program that is giving power to the communities that the gold depositor, the minerals lands. So it is indigenes from that community that will form the cooperatives, 11 to 25 people from the community. The proceeds will be shared in 80%, 555, making 20, that is 100%. They are received, even Nananum are for it, Nananum, if I tell the kind of letters that we are receiving at our end, that we should come, make sure we accept cooperative mining in those communities. My sister, it is even because...
So the NALAB already existed, the community mining has already existed. Now the responsible cooperative mining skill and development is tidying it up. I'm assuming that you're continuing something, right? The people that were under the NALAB, those who already engaged in the community mining, as we speak today, what are they doing? What are they up to?
As we speak today, we've gone to Alabokazo and Anya to launch Anya Alabokazo Cooperative Mining Scheme. My dear, there's something I have to say on your network because you go far. Most of the mineralized land are already given to large-scale miners and small-scale miners. So we are engaging them to demarcate some of their land. For instance, with the Alabokazo, the Anya one, it's an abandoned pit that Adamus Ghana Limited is not operating anymore. That is what we've spoken to them. They've agreed, they've written to the ministry, they've relinquished it to cooperative mining scheme for us to operate a cooperative mining there for the indigenes in that community to mine, and the process remain in that community. So the benefit goes directly to the community, not like before you see Chinese foreigners mining and taking the proceeds outside. As we speak, in June, July, before we launched our program, we went to Obuasi to do skill training for Obuasi community. Over 500 to 1,000 youth were trained in masonry, in mechanical repairs that we call mechanical engineers, cosmetology, and they were equipped with equipment and tools to set up themselves. So therefore, they will leave the illegalities, because not everyone wants to still go into mining. Many do say that they don't have any livelihood. That is the reason they go into these illegalities.
So beyond the cooperative mining, you're also looking for jobs, not necessarily or directly linked to mining for the young people who are there. But my concern really is, as we speak, those who are already under the NALEB, those who were already involved in some sort of community mining, it's been quite some 9 months since you came to power. And I see that you launched this not long ago, in August. But what are they doing? Are they waiting until you absorb them into this new initiative?
There's a forensic auditing on mining list that was given to some small-scale miners who were practicing illegalities in the disguise of small-scale mining laws.
Okay.
And as we speak, the audit is not done.
Okay.
So we cannot just ask them to go ahead and continue their illegalities. But, however, we need to make sure that communities that we drive in, the young ones who want to go into mining from the river bodies and the virgin forest, we set up cooperative miners. That is why I was telling them we've been to Area, we've been to Nkasim. 2 days ago, Nimont Ghana was in our office. We discussed issues with them. They are almost done in getting us the Nkasim part of their concession for the Nkasim Youth Cooperative Mining Scheme to be rolled up.
How are they letting go of that concession? Are you buying it? Are they just giving it to you as some sort of corporate social responsibility?
They are just giving it out as corporate social interventions, because our minister, the ministry, has engaged them through our office that for them to live well in their communities. They themselves have been complaining that the indigents have been going illegally to mine on their concessions. For them to be at peace with them, we have to just get them those land. So therefore, we can tell that this land has been given to you people. Don't intrude into their legally acquired mining lease. You get it? So it is their social corporate responsibility to the community.
Basically giving back the land that belongs to the community back to them.
Definitely.
Part of it. Okay, so let's take to the Newmont example and let's practicalize it and break this responsible cooperative mining scale a bit down for people who do not understand. How would it look, especially for that part that Newmont, if they finish and they hand it over to the community? Who in the community are they handing it over? Is it to the district assembly? Is it to the traditional leaders? Is it to some chief leader, youth leader? Who gets to oversee that community, the young people over there, have a job from that particular part that the Newmont is letting go?
It's a combination of responsible cooperative mining, the district or the municipal assembly, then the Nananum.
Okay, so the responsible cooperative mining would have an office.
So in every district?
In every district, there's an office over there in region. So they will be the one managing. And who works in that cooperative responsibility? Are they people from Accra or people from the community?
It's people from the community. The rules that is set up for cooperative mining, indigenous from that community. For instance, the Nkasim one I'm talking.
Okay.
If you are not from Nkasim, you cannot own the mine. It is the indigenous that from the 10 to 25 of indigenous from Nkasim form a cooperative mine. Okay. They are going to be the investors, not foreigners.
Okay.
So if you don't have the capacity to mine, you cannot get that lease that has been given to us. You register with the Registrar General Department, so therefore we can check from the Registrar Department that truly with your Ghana cards and everything, the normal way of registering a company, to attest that these people are from the community, they are indigenous from the community, they are natives from the community, and they are the investors. They will get 80% of the proceeds, that is gross. 5% will go to the chief that owns the land. You and I know that the land belongs to either a chief, a family, or an individual. But it's only the mineral, that is or the gold, that belongs to all Ghanaians. The president is holding in trust for all of us. So therefore 5% go to the chief. The chief will use to do communal activities. 5% goes to community development fund. It will be a composition of the chiefs nominating a rep, the community nominating a rep, the district assembly nominating a rep, responsible cooperative mining will nominate a rep, and they will form a committee that will take care of that fund. That fund is purposely for maybe chips compound, good pipe-on, water that is boreholes. There are bridges they can construct. The monies that will be accrued, depending on what it can be used for, the committee will look at it and to be used for.
Will this committee, will this money as well, will the reclamation fund come from this money?
I'm going to know. There will be 5% for reclamation fund. There will be a reclamation fund. That there will also be a different committee from the committee that is looking at the community development fund. That will, the composition will also be the community itself, the municipal assembly, Nananum, and our office, the compliance department will make sure that those who have mined the proceeds, that 5%, will go back to make sure that the land will be put into good use again.
Who manages this reclamation fund?
That's what I'm saying, a committee will be formed.
A committee will be formed?
Yes, the district assembly, the community, then Nananum, then our office. So it will not be like government will sit in Accra and determine how the funds in that reclamation fund will be used. A committee will be responsible for that so that they can be held accountable for that amount. And if they don't do what is right, our laws of this country will be used.
So once again, it is a political party who is a ruling party, a government, that is setting up this initiative. What are you doing to ensure that this particular one doesn't get affected by change of government? Today we're sitting here, the NDC is in power and says that the community mining, the NALEB wasn't done well, and so this is to make it better. So that 4 years, won't sit there and also be having another conversation. What are you doing?
As we speak, our ministry through the Attorney General's office are engaging our lawyers to put up a good regulatory framework that will be sent to Parliament for Parliament to pass it into law. There is thinking that even our office will be made an authority that can be on its own and make sure, because as we speak, since 1920-something, that you heard that they've been mining Obuasi. Still Obuasi is mining. Since we heard in the 80s that Takwa was mining. Takwa is mining. Ghana is blessed with gold. So therefore, we are not going to say the gold will deplete. The gold will still be there. So we also need the communities to improve, like Johannesburg has been improved. You and I know that it's gold that has made Johannesburg today, that people from all walks of life want to go and spend holidays there. So there is a thinking that our office will be made an authority. But you know, government is a process. We cannot just use one day. Like I said, it's a legal framework, and you need thinking to go into that. So from where I sit and what I know from our able minister, the deep thinker, Honorable Amakufubua, is liaising with...
So that if it becomes an authority, change in government will not affect
you and I know that.
Do you see that happening under this government?
Sure. His Excellency, the President, has shown leadership to Ghanaians for good 10 months now. We are not saying everything is perfect, but you could see that there's fresh air around governance. Promises gradually are being fulfilled. So with the kind of president I work for, and he's working for Ghana, I have trust in him. And I believe Ghanaians have strong trust in him. That is the reason
How soon do you see these district offices and regional offices, are being set up? Have you set up at least one district office already for the responsible cooperative mining, skill and development? Is there an office as we speak in each of the districts? There's no office.
For now, no.
Currently, what you're doing is going around educating communities.
And engaging.
How soon do you see a district set up? A district office set up? How do you see?
Probably by close of this fourth quarter, because there are financial implications. When you are engaging them, there must be some salaries that's been given to them. We have to go to the finance ministry. A budget has been sent to the finance ministry. We're waiting for their approval. November, our budget.
When they read the budget, you're likely to see something allocated to this.
Substantial amount will be allocated to us so that we can pay our regional coordinators, our district coordinators. So all these are in place. We will say it's in the pipeline, and I'm assuring the good people of this country and yourself, Akusa, that by close of this quarter, we will get...
In a community, who can just walk to this district office that has been designated for the responsible cooperative mining to get a job? Any person in the community at all? Can I just walk in there? I come from Central Tong. I come from a small town in Bakwa. If there is called Bakwa, if there's a district office over there, can I just walk there and say I want to get a job?
First, a Ghanaian from that community, your community that you just mentioned, above 18 years.
Above 18.
Yeah,
do you have a cutoff point?
Yeah, because with the labor law, you can't use
after 60. So it's between 18 to 60, like a normal. Okay.
Labor laws that you can walk to the offices, then pick our forms, you write to us, we come and do a needs assessment. As we speak, Gold Board is partnering us to do geological investigation. So when you tell or you go to our offices and apply that there is a particular land you believe that it could be used in operating or setting up a cooperative mining there, we have a geologist, our head of geologist department. They will go and do assessment. They will go and find out if it is sustainable. We cannot just go and mine anywhere. Other than that, we can come to Accra, where Joy and News is situated, that there's a good deposit here.
Which will not happen. So how are you ensuring women and children directly benefit from this initiative?
With our skill development, what we have on our table, we're targeting 60% women and 40% female. Not an absolute thing that it should just be women. But you and I know that when our mothers are doing well, the family flourishes. I'm not saying men do not take good care of the family. But when women, you and I know, are doing well, the family becomes better for all of us.
When is this forensic audit finishing? When is this forensic audit finishing?
I cannot sit here and give you a timeline because that is not...
But that's not convincing enough for me, especially because you're transitioning from one existing initiative from a previous government to another one. It would interest you to want to have some timelines on it, right? Because
I understand you on that part. But you see, the problem we have now is a deep national security issue. You and I can attest to the fact that ever since this government came into place from January up to now, on Joy News and all other media platforms, we're discussing mining. That is the illegalities in the mining sector. So we don't want to rush into doing a shoddy work. Because I understand you that we should expedite things to see the benefit really getting to the Ghanaian people. But Ghanaians should trust the president we have today and our able minister that very soon, they will conclude all those findings and it will come.
I'll pay personal attention to that budget reading to hope that you have some resources allocated in that so that we can now put some timeline in asking you the questions to get some answers for Ghanaians. Right?
It's important. I'll use this platform that corporate Ghana should come to our aid and also support. Because
for what? For the responsible corporate
talking about finance
or reclamation. Your minister says he needs support for the reclamation of the land because it's expensive. So which one are you asking corporate Ghana for? The reclamation or the responsible cooperative mining initiative?
The reclamation, the skill development, the mining support, all needs money.
Okay.
We need money. So corporate Ghana should come to, because you and I know when you go to Kolebu now, the kind of ailment they send there, many of them is attributed to the kind of water and the food that's coming from the mining areas. The kidney, the liver, you take salad. And you know the river is what they use to water our salad and the lettuce, the cabbages and the rest. So you and I, even in Accra, can be affected.
George, we'll have this conversation again before the year ends, and I'm certain that you'll be in this chair again, and I have more questions for you. Fortunately, my time is up for today. Thank you for joining us today and at least having a conversation on the responsible cooperative mining skill development.
And thank you for having me.
We'll track the progress of it.
Sure.
George Dazi Jr., he's Deputy National Coordinator for Responsible Cooperative Mining. In charge, he's Coordinator in charge of Operations, Responsible Cooperative Mining Skill Development. We're wrapping the show, but quickly, happy birthday to Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Kumi Ejari, the General Overseer of Divine Peace Ministry Church, from your wife, Osofomame Eugenia Sena Kumi Ejari, and your daughter, Jora Berendel Kumi Ejari. We love you. Happy birthday to you. And belated happy 70th birthday to Samuel Kofi Apaudan. So, a maker of joy, Learning TV, warm Joy Learning TV. One wishes from AC Ohene. Here are the entire multimedia. Thank you so much for watching the show. I did this together with Hunter Pele. We'll definitely see you tomorrow. Stay for Joy News Desk.